Okay. B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. Oh, I forgot to turn this one on. There you go. Sorry. Let me try this again. Okay. B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. Shiur Torah. Baruch Hashem. Shana Tova. Shana Metuka to everybody. Just completed Rosh Hashanah. Baruch Hashem. We are now in the 10 days of Tshuva. The time frame between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We have a few days to prepare. Hopefully you guys have some questions. Today's shiur will be for Ilui Nishmat Avraham ben Rachel. Also for Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, for Avi Mori, David ben Esriya, Doris Bajora, Levana bat Sarah, Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Elisheva bat Chaya, Dvora bat Mercedes, and all of Am Yisrael Bezrat Hashem will have Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf. So hopefully everybody had a fulfilling Rosh Hashanah. I know that this time of year, for anyone who goes to shul regularly, you get to see a lot of people that live in your community that you never even knew existed, because they don't go to the shul regularly, but they still have a connection. They still have a connection to Torah, to Judaism, and also Refuah Shlema for Esther bat Tzipora. You see that some people still want to have a connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and do what most of us did growing up, which is you do whatever you want during the year without really two considerations about it. But then you figure you're going to fix all your mistakes in 1 or 2 days. You go to shul on Rosh Hashanah, but for sure you're going to go to shul and fast on Yom Kippur. If you think you saw a lot of people on Rosh Hashanah, wait till you see in a few days, Be'ezrat Hashem, on Yom Kippur, everybody shows up, especially in the last hour and a half, 2 hours. Last 2 hours when there's Ne'ilah, everybody thinks that the shofar is blown, it fixes all their problems. So they go just for the shofar. They sleep all day because they're fasting. Like everybody was supposed to do today, was supposed to fast today. Tzom Gedalia. Tell some people you have to fast. Why? Because Gedalia died. He goes, yeah, but I don't know him. It's like, yeah, you don't know Rabbi Akiva either. You don't know Talmidim, but you have to fast. He goes, yeah, but it was a long time ago. Okay, it was a long time ago. Moshe Rabbeinu was also a long time ago. He goes, yeah, but I'm hungry. It's like, yeah, but it didn't happen yet. Tomorrow is the fast. No, I'm already today, I'm hungry, but tomorrow. So today was a fast. Today was an obligatory fast, and trust me when I tell you, nobody likes to fast. Even the people that do it, like tzaddikim do, at times that you don't need to do it, which we'll talk about a little bit today. There are times that you don't need to fast, but if you want to be a tzaddik, maybe you should. But like anything else, before you do anything, you have to ask your rabbi. Because your rabbi is the one that knows if you're capable of doing it or not. Not physically capable of doing it, spiritually capable of doing it. Because sometimes people jump too fast and they do things that they're not capable of doing, and they end up breaking because of it. It actually happens very often in the tshuva world, where people get really zealous very quickly. All of a sudden they want to rebuke the entire neighborhood. They just learned the first 3 halachot of Shabbat. Don't light fire, don't murder anybody, because the blood is tzovea also. It's not good to murder, and it's also not good to make the blood everywhere. And have kiddush. They already think, oh no, they're Moshe Rabbeinu. 2 days, they're Moshe Rabbeinu. Start rebuking people, and in reality, they're walking Chilul Hashem. So Your rabbi knows where you stand, whether you can or you can't do it, and if you do things based on your own assessment of yourself, you're guaranteed to become a rasha. With your tshuva, you're going to become a rasha. Why? That's what Shulchan Aruch says. Shulchan Aruch says in Orach Chaim, Siman 571, first halacha, a person who's fasting by choice, in essence, to do tshuva, certain sins that a person did, it's not enough to just stop sinning. It's not enough to just stop sinning. Sometimes you have to fast to repent for those sins. Sometimes you have to pay money. Sometimes both. But Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo says, someone who's fasting by choice to do tshuva and can sustain it, he is at a level that he can keep a fast. He's called Kadosh. He's a holy person. Holy person. He comes to your house, says, honey, somebody Kadosh is coming to the house. Why? This person fast. Ooh, Kadosh. But if he's not, if he can't sustain it, if he's not at that level, if he becomes weak and sick, Rabbi Yosef Karo says, he can't really function, he's called, what? A sinner. It's called a rasha. A chote, not rasha, chote. Why? But he's fasting. Isn't that a mitzvah? Everybody's complaining about fasting for Yom Kippur. This guy's fasting Mondays and Thursdays. How come Rabbi Yosef Karo says chote? Because the purpose of fasting is to do tshuva. The purpose of fasting is to do tshuva. It's not to just stop eating. If you just stop eating, that's called a diet. It's called a diet. It's no mitzvah for dieting. You don't go to Gan Eden for being on a diet. You go to Jenny Craig maybe be on a commercial that you dieted. Maybe they'll pay you some money. But as far as Gan Eden, you don't get Gan Eden for doing Jenny Craig. You don't get Gan Eden for being on Slim Fast. You don't get Gan Eden for not eating all day. All you get is maybe a stomach ache. That's it. Why? Because the whole point of fasting, we learn from the Gemara Masechet Ta'anit, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells to the prophet Yechezkel, tell the nation, I'm not interested in them ripping their clothes and putting sacks on and putting ashes on their head as a form of repentance. I'm interested in them ripping their hearts. Meaning, change your actions. Be sorry for what you did and do something about it. Some people are really, really busy about the sorry, but they don't do anything about it. The key is to do something about it. Now the commentary on the Shulchan Aruch by the called Be'eretiv by Rabbi Moshe Rav Kash says that a person who's in the middle of eating and stops himself right before he takes a certain bite that he wants to eat. If you ever noticed, the last bite is usually the best one. Last bite is usually the best one. It has like all the flavors. It's the one you always want. So, the Be'eretiv says, if he stops himself before he eats it for a few seconds, like he wants to eat it, but he said, hold on a second. And then he eats it. That's a form of ta'anit. That's a form of small suffering, like you just fasted a little bit, without actually fasting. Showing that, what do we learn from here? It's not about your diet that HaKadosh Baruch Hu really cares. You eat, you don't eat. It's showing that you taught yourself how to control yourself. You're no longer an animal. You're not like a dog that's untrained, where as soon as he sees food, he runs. He goes through the closet, jumps through the wall, through the window. Doesn't know. He sees food, he jumps after it. No, you're like a trained person. Well, there's a time to eat, there's a time not to eat. Because even withholding something delicious from yourself for a few seconds, eventually you ate it though, a few seconds is actually a form of ta'anit. We call that, it's ta'anit by the Ravad. The Ravad is the one that came up with this chidush. It's a form of ta'anit. It's a form of fasting. Obviously, it's not a full fast. It's not to the same levels of full fast. But you guys get the idea. Now, Now, who's doing these fasts? Somebody that used to be a rasha. Somebody that used to sin, used to make all types of sins, and he realizes that, okay, I got to fix myself. There's certain sins that I made, that, okay, I have to do the steps of tshuva. First step of tshuva is stop. First step. First step is stop the sin. If you're addicted to any type of food, intimacy, television, all types of things that take your time, attention, money, and so on, remove you from Hashem, stop. First stop. You don't need to drive on Shabbat. You could drive on Sunday, you could drive on Monday, you could drive on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You could drive any other day, don't drive on Shabbat. Yeah, but I want to go to shul. Walk to shul. Yeah, but it's too far. Okay, don't go to shul. If the shul is too far from your house to walk, then don't go to shul on Shabbat. Unless you can make arrangements to live close next to the shul during Shabbat. Yes. Can you ride a bike? Chachamim said no. And the reason why is because not that it's the same, riding a bike is not the same as driving a car, because driving a car is mamash lighting a fire, many fires. And this is the opinion of all the Chachamim. Doesn't matter if you're Ashkenazi, Sfaradi, Litai, Hasidish, everybody knows that driving a car or even being on a horse and carriage was never allowed. But bicycle brought a question to the Chachamim, said technically it's not fire. Chachamim still said not allowed. Why not allowed? Said because what if the bike breaks down because the chain falls off? If the chain falls off, you're going to fix it. You're not allowed to fix on Shabbat. That's makeh patish. You're not allowed to fix on Shabbat, which means that this bike, what are you going to do? You have a $300 bike. You're on this bike, you want to go to shul, all of a sudden the chain falls off, which happens very often. Falls off, you're going to say, oh yeah, I'll fix it. But now, technically, you can't. So what are you going to do? Oh, because I leave it here, I'm going to take it with me. Creates problems. Chaim says, don't get yourself into a mess. Not allowed to go on a bicycle. Not allowed to go on a bicycle. Now you're going to see, unfortunately, in the more modern neighborhoods, especially in America, it's almost become lechatchila that people go on bicycles today. And the rabbis don't say a single thing about it. In many shuls here, you see that people ride on their bicycles and the rabbis don't say anything. Sometimes they even make a special space for them in the shul to park their bicycle on Shabbat. Although it's not right for people to go on their bicycle, because Chachamim told us not, it's not wrong 100% for all of these rabbis to not say anything right away about it. Why? Because it's not isur like the car. It's not forbidden like the car. Now, the reality is, we spend every lecture, at least half the lectures, rebuking everybody. In this case, I understand the situation that the rabbis are in. Why? Because right now we're in such a disaster in America. In Florida, I don't think there's a single Bet Knesset that doesn't have an operating parking lot on Shabbat. People drive to shul here as if it's a mitzvah. So the rabbis are in such they're in such a problem, such a dilemma. They say, listen, I got one guy finally, he's not driving, he's on a bicycle. I'm going to tell this guy something. Let me deal with the other 90 guys that are driving to shul first. Then I'll deal with the guy that's going against the Chachamim and going on a bicycle. Technically, you're supposed to tell everybody, including the guy that's on a bicycle. But in reality, you have such a big disaster where 90% of the kila is on a car, and he's scared to tell them something. How are you going to tell the guy that's on a bicycle something? Go tell everybody else, from now on, don't drive to shul, don't come. Go tell them something before you tell this guy something. Right? So that's the dilemma. So you should know, you're not allowed to be on a bicycle according to Chachamim, and I promise you, you don't want to go against the Chachamim. If they said it, there's a reason for it. But if you see a new Baal Tshuva riding his bicycle to the Beit Knesset, don't become crazy, zealous, Pinchas all of a sudden, and start screaming at him in the middle of the street, hey, Rasha, you're on the bicycle, don't say nothing. Wait, let him do what he's got to do. At some point, maybe invite him to your house, talk to him, say, by the way, I got this chidush, I never heard it before. Pretend like you're hearing about it first time, and you play this. They say, look, it's not allowed. Chachamim say not allowed to go on a bicycle. Why? Unless you turn, you fix the chain. And then this Chacham is going to be more Chacham than you. What he's going to say? Yeah, but today there's a chainless bicycle. A chainless bicycle. And he says, yes, you're right. It's a bicycle without a chain. It exists. It's a bicycle without a chain. It exists. Still not allowed. Why? Chachamim said already by default, walk. Walk. It's not really the bicycle. It's the fact that this is also bringing the mundane to the holy. And that's also the issue with people that are going with their little scooters or skateboards. Apparently nobody knows how to walk anymore. Hashem gave everybody legs, nobody knows how to use them. Oh, it's far. How far? Oh, it's a whole 12-minute walk. Rabbi, what am I, crazy? I go on my scooter, 2 minutes. You want me to waste time? Yeah, I want you to waste time. Why? Do you know how many books I read on the way to shul already? I try to make sure that I go anytime I move, I try to live a little, far from the shul. I don't want to go live close to the shul. I lived one time close to the shul, was the worst thing in the world. Why? I stopped reading. But now I live far from the shul, 15-minute walk. Far, not like 3 miles away. Far is like within a mile. Within a mile. That means I'm walking a mile there, 15 minutes each way. Or with me, I'm kind of slow because my health. So, Baruch Hashem, sometimes 25 minutes, a half hour it takes me. You know how much I can read in 25 minutes, a half hour? So the whole time I'm reading, I'm finishing books. Everybody else is on their scooters making avirot. I'm, Baruch Hashem, doing mitzvot, walking to shul. Becomes a mitzvah to walk to shul. Take a little book, take a little pamphlet, take something good. Read it the whole way. Yeah, aren't you going to run into something? Yeah, you're going to run into mitzvot. Eventually, you train yourself, you know how to walk with reading, it's no problem. I've been doing it for years, Baruch Hashem, it works. Point is, you have legs. You have legs, that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave you those legs for a reason. Now, what if somebody doesn't want to listen? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shekonim dvaro. I'm going to tell you a story. True story. I know firsthand. Chazal says something. If people mistreat it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes it personally. Chazal, they're not taking it personally. Why? They're in Gan Eden right now. They're having a good time. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the honor of his children, of his soldiers, to sanctify his name, he takes it personally when you go against Chazal. So Chazal made a takana where they said that when you say the Kiddush on Yom Shishi, it's common among everybody, whether you're a Sfaradi, Ashkenazi, doesn't matter, to sing the song Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Everybody knows the song, right? You guys have heard the song. It's not Kiddush for you, right? Okay. Why? Because when you come back from shul on Friday, in essence, what's happening? You're bringing 2 malachim with you. Gemara says you bring 2 malachim with you. One is a good malach, one is not so good. But they're both coming with you. Why? They come to see the house. If the house is ready, it's holy, the table is set, that the house is prepared for Shabbat, the environment smells good, it's good. Then the good malach says, may next Shabbat be just like this one. Gives you a bracha. Gives you a bracha. But if it's not, if your house looks like it's Tisha B'Av, the chairs are flipping on the table, there's nothing on the table, your notebooks, your tools are still there, muktzeh is all over the place, no one's prepared, your wife is still wearing a robe, she doesn't even know it's Shabbat yet, the kids just got out of bed, no one knows what's going on, then the bad malach says, he curses, where he says, may next Shabbat be just like this. Everybody's fighting, next Shabbat also. So now, these malachim, everybody knows these malachim, the Gemara says, malachim say, they come to your house. So in the honor of these malachim, when we sing Shalom Alachei Hasharet, these angels, that's what we sing, the song. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem, it's not talking about Hashem, it's talking about these angels. Welcome these angels. In the honor of these malachim, what do? These are special guests. These are honorary guests. What do? We stand. We stand. Chazal says stand. Now, if you sit down during the time, nice shot. If you sit down, you're not going to Gan Eden for the shot. If you sit down, you're going to get that Gan Eden for coming to the shiur though. Gan Eden, you come for the shiur. Now, if you sit down during Shalom Aleichem, you go to Gehenom or no? No, you don't go to Gehenom. Why are you going to go to Gehenom? It's not halacha, no. But do the sages get offended? I told you, then in Gan Eden, who gets offended? Hashem gets offended. Why? How come you're treating my malachim with such disrespect? Now people think, no, come on, you fanatic, crazy, ISIS, Daesh, you, Hamas. Okay, I'll tell you a story. One time, there was a guy who says, you know what, I don't think you need to stand up. Why? For what? You're singing to the angels, you're not singing to Hashem, this, that, yeah, all the excuses in the world. No. He doesn't want to say, he wants to dafka sit down. Okay, sit down, everybody's singing Shalom Aleichem. They ask the question. No, nobody wants to do nothing. Oh, I'm sitting. Everybody else, the whole family's standing. But this guy wants to sit down. Okay, what are you going to tell him? Nothing. You can't do nothing. It's like a family of rabbis. And okay, he's sitting. One Shabbat after another Shabbat after another Shabbat after another Shabbat. Nothing happens. No genom. One day, he feels like his leg starts to hurt. His leg starts to hurt. Oh, let's go to the doctor. Doctor says, I'm sorry, sir, but your knee needs to be replaced. My knee needs to be replaced. Replace your knee. What do you want my knee? My knee's good. He goes, no, yeah, your knee is good, but it's old. Yeah, but it wasn't old 6 months ago. 6 months ago it wasn't old. Today it's old. I don't know. Something happened. Something happened. What happened? He didn't do the cheshbon. The knee started getting worse and worse. Then the other knee started getting worse and worse. Little by little, over the next 3 years, he wasn't able to walk anymore. Now, everybody in the family knows this is the reason. Everybody in the family knows this is the reason because he didn't stand up, like Chazal says. That's the reason what started this problem with the legs. But everybody's scared to death to say anything. Why? It's too late. What are you going to tell the guy? Told you so. It's too late. So, when Chazal says something, you should definitely listen to them. Because if they said it, that means that it's not for nothing. Now, the different keilot today have so many different leniencies that a lot of people don't really know the difference between a minhag and a halacha. And a lot of people get frustrated and leave Judaism not because of halacha, but rather because of minhagim. And they blame the religion for it. They blame God for it. In reality, they should only blame themselves. Why? It's their fault that they didn't know the difference between minhag, which is a custom, and halacha. Sometimes people take on a minhag so seriously, they add it as a chumrah to their life, as a stringency to their life, when in reality, they shouldn't have. If they ask any Talmid Chacham that knows them well, told them don't do it. Why? You're not in that level. But one of the most frustrating things that you get to see from this position, from dealing with the public, and trying to help guide people to do tshuva, whether they're newly religious or they thought they were religious their whole life, but now they're doing tshuva finally. Whatever it is, one of the most frustrating things is people that are know-it-alls. They just decide to do whatever they want. They read something in a book and they start doing it. And I'm not talking about halacha, I'm talking about minhagim. They start taking on all types of stringencies. All of a sudden, they become the Ben Ish Chai. All of a sudden, they're Rabbeinu Tam. All of a sudden, they want to do all the chumrot. And tell everybody else, tell all of Klal Yisrael, they're all Reshaim. In reality, they're the biggest Rasha. Why? Their whole tshuva is not real tshuva. It's all ego. It's ego. It's just another way for you to think that you're better than everybody else. So, until you are an expert in the basics of halacha, an expert in all the basics, you should not even consider a single chumrah unless your rabbi specifically told you this is for you. And if you have to, you're clever enough and you say, no, but I found something, I think I can do it. Go to your rabbi, say, Rabbi, can I do it? Just like my little kids ask me for permission if they can touch something on my desk. You have to ask your Rabbi, can I do this, please? Not, oh, Rabbi, I decided that I'm going to take this on. I decided I'm going to take this on. I decided that I'm going to start fasting Mondays and Thursdays. I decided that I'm going to start keeping such and such. I decided I'm going to keep Shabbat an extra hour every week. I decided. Who decided that you're allowed to decide? Oh, I saw on YouTube. Okay, so call YouTube then. What are you telling me? Call YouTube, Rabbi YouTube. Help me. I need lacha for something else now. No, but YouTube doesn't answer. So how did it give you this chidush that you're allowed to take on this stringency? No, I mean, it was the rabbi you saw. And okay, so call him. What are you calling me for? Go call him. Ask him. Oh, no, he has an answer. Okay, so when he answers. You have to understand. Rabbis are not puppets. You cannot, use it, abuse it, get bored of it, and replace it with something else. Go to the toy store, go buy something else. When it says Asel Charav, this is something Chazal says, you have to be afraid of this rabbi like you're afraid of God. If he's a real Talmid Chacham, if he's not a Talmid Chacham, then why you have him as a rabbi? Point, if he's a real Talmid Chacham, he's somebody that has Yirat Shamayim, you have to be afraid of him like you're afraid of God. Why? Because he's the one that's going to get you to Gan Eden. Yeah, but I can do it myself. Okay, good luck. Good luck, do it yourself. Korach thought he could do it by himself also. A lot of people thought they could do it by themselves. But Gemara says, no, you can't do it by yourself. Why? Because we need to have rabbis. Now, unfortunately, sometimes the rabbis are prisoners of their own keilot, where the funding for the keilah comes from rich people that don't exactly care so much about Torah. And the rabbi is afraid to rebuke them. I feel bad for such rabbis. Because it's a horrible, horrible place to be in. Especially if you have a family, kids. When you make a decision whether you're going to tell people the truth or not, it's not just about, oh, is it good for them or bad for them. It's natural for you to think also, wait, they're probably going to fire me. So where am I going to get a job now after they fire me? Just over here by my house, they fired 2 rabbis in the last year. 2 rabbis they fired in the last year. Why? Because both rabbis told me you have to start keeping Shabbat. Stop driving to shul. They fired 2 rabbis. So, point is, Rabotai, is that it's not so easy. It's not an easy job. But at the same token, it's not allowed to simply say nothing because you're afraid. One of the Gdolim in the Syrian world is the Rav Tzion. He was the head rabbi in Panama. And when he was still young, before he became one of the Gdolei Ador, they asked him to come become a rabbi in Panama over there. And he was Ish Kodesh. And he saw that there's a lot of intermarriage, all types of Goan Nefesh, all types of things that are against the Torah in the community. Can't stand that way. So he saw that the president of the shul, his son was going to get married to a Goya. So he invited the son on the day of his wedding. Invited the son to his office. He goes, listen, I want to give you a present. Come to my office. Invited the son to his office. And son said, okay, the rabbi is the day of the wedding. Baruch Hashem. He's going to marry Christine. And the rabbi is going to give him a present too. Why? Because his father is the president of the shul. He's got a lot of money. So the rabbi invites him to his place. And he comes in, he goes, listen, 1 second, I got to go get something. I'll be right back. Stay here, okay? So the kid, on the day of his wedding, goes, Rabbi, I got to go in a few hours, the wedding. No, no problem. I'll be right back. He closes the door behind him, and the guy, the young guy, is about to marry the Goya. He sits in the office, he's waiting. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Oh, maybe the rabbi has stomach ache, he's in the bathroom. Who knows? 15 minutes. The rabbi can't say nothing, right? It's kavod. Kavod for the rabbi. 20 minutes. Okay, no, 20 minutes. I got a wedding in 3 hours. Pictures, this, that, the whole balagan. 25 minutes. The guy starts pacing back and forth in the room. Says, you know what, let me go check. And he tries to get out of the office. He sees the door is locked. What? Starts smashing on the door. Nothing. To no avail. Nobody else is in the building. It's a Sunday. Everybody's off. Nobody else in the building. So he goes, what's going on? You locked me in here? He goes, he runs, gets the phone. Phone? Disconnected. Disconnected phone. No phone. Thank you. It's giving me the phone. Disconnected phone. Nothing. The guy starts smashing on everything. Nothing. He can't do anything. This is before the days of cell phones. He can't do anything. The next day, the rabbi comes to the office, opens the door. The guy gets up without even saying anything to him. Just runs out. Goes to see his, the one he was supposed to meet, Christine. Goes to see her. Hey, I'm sorry. In a second, she says, you dirty Jew. I can't believe what you did to me, you filthy, Ooh, all the goal nefesh in the world. She spews it at him. Embarrassed her in public. There was a big reception. They paid everybody already. All these guests show up and the Khatan doesn't show up. She sends him to hell. So now this guy says, I'm going to take my revenge against this rabbi for doing this to me. Next day, Rav Tzion is walking down the street, but he hears somebody's walking behind him. He stops. Walking continues. Turns around, and he sees it's the kid with a gun. He goes, you ruined my life, I'm going to ruin yours. Now all of us, what are we going to do over there? All of us. What are we doing? No, please, we're all losers. Why? Oh, no, don't do it. It's for you, it's for you. That's what we're doing. You know what he did? He goes, right here. Right here. Why? I'd rather you kill me than you kill yourself. I'd rather you kill me in this world than you go to Gehenom forever. Now this story is not finished. The kid couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe the rabbi was willing to put his life on the line. He couldn't do it. But the father was still upset. Still upset the whole thing was happening. So Shabbat came, and the father insisted on getting an aliyah to be the first. First aliyah to the Torah. The rabbi says, I'm not reading if he's here. Rabbi, I have my aliyah, I'm the president of the shul. The rabbi says, if he's inside the shul, president, if he's inside the shul, I'm not reading from the Torah. Not only he's not getting aliyah, if he's inside the shul, I'm not reading. Nobody else know how to read. Nobody else is going to go against the rabbi publicly. Even though not necessarily everybody's tzaddikim, but you're going against the biggest gvir in the community, the president of the shul, like this. The president got his embarrassment, said, I'll deal with you after Shabbat. He leaves, continues the aliyah. There's a lot of people there. He's not going to hold up everybody else. The Rav goes back home. He says to his wife, honey, after Shabbat, we'll have a conversation, a few things, something happened in the shul, most likely we'll have to move. So, Motzei Shabbat comes in, at the door of the rabbi, outside the window, he sees the entire community is outside his house. He says, Hashem Yirachem, they came to lynch me. Public lynch, what are they going to do? What are you going to do? We're here, we're in Panama, we're not in New York. Panama. Opens the door, the shul president is at the head. He says, Kvod Rav, I'm here to apologize. You were right, you were wrong. And that's how he became the Gedol Ador in the Syrian community. Now, he was a huge Talmid Chacham, very close to Rav Ovadia, and many of the things that he taught them helped save the Syrian community. I wish they had more like him, because there's a lot of issues that happened after he died that took some of the things that he or other Chachamim in the Syrian community said out of context, that have made that community a fantastic community in regards to having beautiful shuls, beautiful sidurim, machzorim, and things of that nature. But unfortunately, it's another one of our communities that needs to work on learning Torah seriously, because there's some very big mistakes that are public now. For example, the whole issues with the way they treat converts. Now, the Takana in the Syrian community from over 100 years ago, that they said that they saw there's so much intermarriage that they said, we have to save our community. From now on, we're not allowing converts within the community. That's what the Takana was. To save the community, Chachamim are allowed to, in essence, add a law in order to save the community. But it's temporary, it's not permanent. Unfortunately, the Chachamim that made that law died, and no one ever took that takana off. And the people of today didn't continue it the way it was said, but elaborated on it. Where instead of, we're not accepting any converts anymore within the community, today they outright reject converts. Meaning, if you're a convert, you want to go to Safra, over here, you're going to see the first in the door, you're going to see, we do not accept converts. Now we don't accept converts to, if our rabbis are not going to convert you. Don't come to our shul. Don't come to our shul. Some of them even go crazy to the point where they kick you out of the mikveh. This happened to one of our students. Two of our students, actually. This is not what Arav Tzion said. This is not what this is what the Chachamim said. This is the craziness of today. This is when someone's zealousness goes out of context, and it's not what the original Chachamim said. So, it's not anything against the Syrian community per se, chas v'shalom. Syrian community has from Aleppo, they have the oldest codex that we have, which is the way we know how to do nikud in the Torah, how to read the Torah. The only reason we know how to do it is because of the codex. They have the oldest version that we have in the world today. But unfortunately, many of the people today have become modernized. The only Torah that they know is what they hear on an occasional shiur. And the rabbis today are, unfortunately, prisoners of the community. If you see one of their big rabbis tell the community, hey, listen, don't treat converts like that. That's not what the Chachamim said. Guess what? Tomorrow he's looking for a new job. Tomorrow he's on the unemployment line. If he tells the community, hey, you're not allowed to go to the mixed beaches. Whether it's summer or it's winter, doesn't make a difference. Not allowed to go to mixed beaches like a lot of people go. What, tomorrow? He's on the unemployment line. You're not allowed to drive to shul. Unemployment line. You're not allowed to wear wigs. Yeah, but Ashkenazim wear wigs. Okay, Sfaradim don't wear wigs. Even if you want to rely on the Ashkenazi Eter for wigs, forget about the Avodah Zarah part. That's only for Ashkenazim, it's not for Sfaradim. What are you, Syrian or Bukharian Sfaradi, what are you doing wearing a wig? Whose Eter are you using now? Would you become Ashkenazi for one mitzvah? Guess what? The rabbi's on the unemployment line if he does this. So what's their solution? What's their solution? They go to unemployment line. Or they can bring me for free. They can bring Ab Mizrahi for free. They can bring anybody that's willing to tell the truth for free. Why? That's what your responsibility is. You don't want to lose your job? Okay, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that. But he still gave you a gift. He gave you a shul, 500 people, 1,000 people. Each one is richer than the other. Each one has kavod for the Torah and so on and so forth. But they all decide to become their own rabbis. It's your job as a leader that knows the truth to redirect them. Now you know that they're not going to take it well if it's coming from you. That doesn't absolve you from the mitzvah. You still have to do it. You still have to do it. Unfortunately though, sometimes the problem is the rabbi. In some communities, the biggest problem is the rabbi. One guy called me one time and he says, listen, I'm looking, can you help me with a shidduch? I said, I'm sorry, I'm not in the shidduch business. I try to help people do tshuva, do shidduch between them and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because yeah, but your cousin told me about you, maybe you know a lot of people, this, that, and the other thing. I said, listen, once in a while, I get to know people. And I try, but don't rely on me. Go to a real shatchan. Okay, so what do you need? I said, send me your resume. Send me your shidduch resume. If I ever have something, I'll tell you about it. So the guy sends me a resume. I see he's a well-to-do. He has every degree under the sun. A doctor in this, a doctor in that. He's older. All types of doctors, and he's also from some royal family in some different country. Shtabach Shimo. This guy, what? He's a convert. He said, oh, Alvai, we have many converts like this. Wow, we could build yeshivot every day with such converts. All right, go down the line. What is he looking for? You just put in a resume, he's supposed to put what you're looking for. From birth. No Baal Tshuva, no convert. I go back to the top, I say, convert. But the convert doesn't want to convert. So I said, it has to be a typo. Convert doesn't want to convert? It's like black on black crime. What the hell's the matter with you? Well, listen, go hate the white people at least. At least you have a reason. Why are you hating the white? What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? So this guy, I call him, I say, listen, or I text him or something. I said, yeah, I think there's a typo here. It says that you don't want your convert. He goes, yeah, convert, this rabbi, okay. But you're not willing to take a shidduch if she's a convert. And if she's a Baal Tshuva. He says, exactly. I said, you might tell me why? He goes, well, listen, my community won't accept her. I said, well, I said, I can't even make such a story like this up. I said, what do you mean your community doesn't accept? You're a convert. You remember that, right? He goes, yeah, but they accept me. But they won't accept me marrying a convert. I said, why? He goes, I'm in a Syrian community. Over here, they don't accept converts. How do you get in? Next to his name, there's a net worth called $1 billion. That's how you got in. If you have $1 billion, you could be Arafat. What's showing? In that particular part of the Syrian community, the rabbi is the problem. It's not the entire Syrian community, Chas Shalom. That one, that particular one, that shul, it's not the keilah. It's the rabbi. It's the rabbi. It's not the keilah. Others, unfortunately, mixed match. Point being, Rabotai, we can't just go out there and make enemies with everyone and anyone. It doesn't. I'm not making. This is not to Chas v'Shalom insult everyone, but it's to simply understand what's a rule, what's a halacha, what is a minhag, what is a chumrah, what's what? What are we doing here? Why are we doing what we're doing? And that's why the Shulchan Aruch says, if you want to do tshuva completely, you have to take on some fasts as part of your tshuva, not right away. Later on, as you get more and more deep into your tshuva, you're going to have to take some fasts on. The Baal Tanya says that you really need to fast at least one time for each one of your sins. But the rest of the Chachamim said, yeah, one time, yes, but the 84 fast for every time you wasted seed, or almost just as much for being with a Goya, or even more for being angry, and so on and so forth. No one can do that in this generation. We're a weak generation. So what do? You have to give money. How much money? Each time you're supposed to fast, you give a replacement of a meal. So let's say, for example, wasting seed. 84 times for every time a person wasted seed. So let's say the value of a meal is $5. In America, let's say it's $5. I don't know, if you're in South America, it could be $2. If you're in different parts of France, it's, I don't know, $100. Who knows, a cookie, $100 over there. So whatever, depends where you're eating. $5, let's say, a meal. 84 times 5, it's 420. Every time a person wastes seed, they have to give $420 tzedakah. Specifically for the sake of this specific sin. Now, a person right now is looking at himself, looking at his pocket, like, wait a minute, $420, I have $4.20. How can I get started? He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have anything. Don't worry, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what you don't have. Don't worry about this part of the tshuva yet. Worry about the other stuff first. Stopping, committing to stop, watch your eyes, get other people to stop. Focus on that first. As HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that you're doing serious tshuva for the things that you can do, He'll give you the ability to do the things that you can't do. Don't worry about the things that you can't do. You're not being judged for them. You're not being judged for not being rich. And therefore you can't give $400,000 for all the sins you've made. You're being judged for the things that you can do. You can stop. You can watch your eyes. You can watch your mouth. You can watch your ears. You can do a lot of things. Focus on those things. Focus on that. Now, a person is not going to be able to fast. And therefore he's going to use meals. He's going to use money instead. But the Balatanya says even if he could use money, he should at least fast one time for each sin. One time, not 84 times. One time for each sin, but the rest of it, pay with money. So if a person wants to do such a tshuva, the Shulchan Aruch says, if he's fasting for the sake of tshuva, because he could sustain it, he is a ish kadosh. She is a isha kadosha. They're holy people. But if they cannot sustain it, they become weak and sick as a result of it, it's not even tshuva. It's actually another sin added to their whole regimen of sins. What do you mean? But he fasted the whole day guy's suffering, poor guy. Why is it another sin? Because he did not get rabbinical permission to do this. You have to get permission to do it. You can't just do whatever you want in Judaism. Now, yeah, but the rabbi on YouTube said I could do it. Okay, so go to rabbi on YouTube. Go to him, ask him. Maybe he'll fight for you in Gehinom too. Why did the Chachamim say such a thing? To show us that the same exact action, same exact thing, could be considered holy or a sin. Same exact thing. That's how important it is to know the difference. The same exact action. You could drink the same cup of water. If you say bracha, it's a mitzvah. That mitzvah creates an angel. That angel is going to help protect you and encourage you to do more mitzvot. Why? Because you drank some water, but before you drank it, you said a bracha. You created another angel, and that angel is going to fight for you as a soldier. On the other hand, you forgot about Hashem for 2 seconds. You drank the water. No bracha. No bracha. Guess what? You also created something, but it wasn't an angel that's your friend. It was a demon that's going to hurt you. It's going to encourage you to make more sins. Now you drank this, he's going to encourage you maybe to go to White Castle. He's going to encourage you maybe to get some McDonald's. He's going to encourage you to maybe look at some illegal websites on the internet. That angel, where do you think came from? Nothing? No, you created it. So now, Rabotai, the same action can do two things. Now, when a person is doing mitzvot, comes to a shiur Torah, you figure he's in good shape. Comes to Beit Knesset, you figure he's in good shape. How come there's so many Reshaim at Bet Knesset? Some B'tei Knesset are experts. They collect all the Reshaim. It's like the Erev Rav, go to the Bet Knesset. Only Erev Rav. Some Bet Knesset has, of every Bet Knesset, Baruch Hashem, has all types of people. Some more, some less. But some B'tei Knesset, you see that everybody over there is a Mechalel Shabbat, doesn't keep anything, makes fun of the Torah. Now you would think, people go to Bet Knesset, they all get the protection of the Torah, they all should all become tzaddikim by the time they leave. How come not? Who has an answer for me? Somebody goes to Bet Knesset every day. Not once a year. Not on Yom Kippur only. The whole year. He goes to Bet Knesset every day. All year. Never misses a day. He even goes to nets. But in Shemaim they still call him Rasha. How come? How could such a thing be? How come the Torah that he's learning and the Tefillot are not helping him? No, you guys have to give me an answer, I get $50. No, who can give me an answer? The guy's going to shul every day. He learns Daf Yomi. Still Rasha. How come? How could such a thing be? No, Chazuk.
He has no Yirat Shamayim.
See, he's been coming to the shul. You guys are sleeping. Chazaku Baruch. You guys are sleeping still. Wake up. 10 days of tshuva. I'm going to scare to death out of you by the time we finish the shul. What happens 10 days of tshuva? Then you're going to wake up. So tzaddik over here says he has no Yirat Shamayim. What is he? Baruch Shekivanta. What does he mean? It means this person goes to shul, learns Daf Yomi, learns Torah, comes to the shul, but is not committed to doing tshuva yet. Meaning, he comes to the shul because it's something to do. It's interesting. He comes to Bet Knesset because it's something to do. He grew up this way, or his friends go there. He's not doing it because he's using the Torah as the instruction set to live his life and to fix his horrible midot. He's just because. So the same Be'eretev says, this person is still considered a Rasha. And all of his actions, and all of the Torah that is learned by this Rasha, who does not want to do tshuva, does not go to his merit. In fact, it gives increasing strength to the klipot. Every single mitzvah that he does gives more strength to the satan, to the horrible side. Yeah, but he goes to shul, he learns Torah, Daf Yomi, everything. Yes, but because he did not use these mitzvot, and he did not fulfill these mitzvot for the sake of heaven, he's not trying to do tshuva. He's just doing them just because. He goes to shul just because. He learns just because. He reads just because. He has nothing else to do. He's old. He's 90 years old already. What else is he going to do? Play Nintendo? What's he going to do? So he reads. Okay, he reads the Chumash. I know somebody. Rav Zev told me. He says he knows somebody. Every Shabbat he learns Gemara with a cigarette. Every Shabbat, he says. He finishes the entire Shas learning with a cigarette in his mouth. Smoking a cigarette. On Shabbat, learning Gemara. Meaning that the Torah by itself is not fixing anything for him. He's learning it's like another subject. So in Shamayim they say this person not only is a Rasha, but worse yet, all of his mitzvot are giving more strength to the opposite side until he does tshuva. So instead of the Torah and the chizuk and the shiur that you gave him, bringing him back, unfortunately he's not doing anything for him. Why? Because he himself has to want to help himself. How? By desiring to change. Now in Siman 565, the Shulchan Aruch says, sometimes there's a person that publicizes his fasts. He tells people, hey, listen, guys, take it easy on me today, I'm fasting. Oh, it's all, what, Yom Kippur? No, it's Monday. So why are you fasting? You know, people like me, we fast Mondays and Thursdays. I didn't tell you about the time I fasted 3 days in a row. I didn't tell you about that. But people like me, we fast Mondays and Thursdays. Shulchan Aruch says in Siman 565, someone that publicizes his fast gets punished for that fast. Punished. Now the Be'er Etev that wrote the commentary Says what? What is he saying on this? He says, even if people ask this person that's fasting, are you fasting? He has to lie and say, no, I'm not fasting. Why? What, do you think you're better than them? Don't tell nobody. Keep your mouth shut. What are you doing? You're fasting. You want to be big tzaddik? You want to elevate yourself? No problem. Quiet. Don't show off that you're fasting. Unless they ask him to eat. No, come on, eat with us. It's not nice for you not to eat with us. It's not nice. And he can't excuse himself. He says, listen, guys, I can't. I'm fasting. And he's allowed. But then there's another condition. When are you allowed to tell people you're fasting? The Be'er Hetev says you're allowed and you should publicize your fast if your fast is for the sake of tshuva. If you're fasting because it's tshuva, then you should publicize it in order to teach other people that they should do tshuva also. What happened about being arrogant and show off and so on and so forth? It's okay. It's okay to be arrogant about doing tshuva. It's okay, don't worry, it's fine. It's okay to be arrogant about that. Meaning, not okay to be arrogant, but it's okay, we'll take that risk. Why we take that risk? Because someone that does real tshuva, the first step of doing real tshuva is destroying your arrogance. If you're still arrogant, you haven't even begun to do tshuva. Why? Because it says, Toivat Hashem kol gvalev. Hashem hates every single person that's arrogant. So if you still haven't worked on your arrogance, you still think, if you still think that you're better than everybody else, you haven't even begun to do tshuva yet. But if a person has worked on his character traits, then the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, page 34b says, in the place that Baalei Tshuva stand, even tzaddikim cannot get to. So then there's a big question I'm going to ask you guys. I'm sure all of you have heard somehow, somewhere, that Hashem even loves the Reshaim. He loves the Reshaim. Now, there's many verses in the Torah that say the opposite. Hashem says to the prophet Micha, Et Esav saneti. Esav, he's a Rasha, I hate him. Or Hashem says, En shalom Hashem amar la-reshaim. Hashem says, no peace to the Reshaim. But then, there's a Chachamim that say, Hashem loves the Reshaim too. No, who wants to give me an answer on this? Why would Hashem love the Reshaim? He said he doesn't like them. Why would he love the Reshaim? Chavud. You. You're already on the roll. I'm going to give you another one. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah.
Maybe he loves them in this world, but hates them in the next.
He loves them in this world, but hates them in the next. Why? Why would he love them in this world? If they're traitors now, why would he love them later?
Let's say they did some expose after being rewarded for it. Like, since they do so much Averos, they're getting punished for eternity. You have to live in this world.
Interesting. No? They help the righteous do tshuva? How is the Rasha helping the righteous do tshuva? How did Esav help Yaakov do tshuva? How? He left him for 20 years. He didn't see him. And then the one day he saw him, he said, listen, I don't want to be with him. Me and my sons are going to be here. I'll catch up with you. He never caught up with him. Yetzirah is the obstacle. He's doing his job. But Rasha is not doing his job. Rasha is a traitor. Rasha is going against his creator. No, Chabod, yeah. He's Jewish. Okay, so Nebuchadnezzar was also Jewish. You know Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the first Beit HaMikdash. Chidush. Yeah, give you Chidush. See, you guys came to the show, you get Chidushim. Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the first Beit HaMikdash. The Gemara says that the Shlomo HaMelech made a mistake. He wanted to bring Mashiach. He used his wisdom, thinking, oh, Mashiach is world peace. Okay, so how do you make world peace? I'll marry every queen from every country, convert all of them to Judaism, and there'll be world peace. So when he married the queen, or the princess from Egypt, her name was Shva. She, even though she converted, she still brought her idolatry with her. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu got very angry about this. And the Gemara says that Malach Gavriel, in that moment that he married Shva, Malach Gavriel came with a spear, hit the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, and created an island. That island was later known as Italy, Rome. Why is that significant? Because the Romans are the ones that destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. So Shlomo Melech wanted to build the Beit HaMikdash, bring world peace. Mashiach, unfortunately, his actions led to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. So from this Queen Shva, they had a daughter, and that daughter had a son. That son's name was Nebuchadnezzar. This is?
Where's the Makor?
Makor is Pirush Rashi Sefer Melachim Aleph. Shtabach Shemo, B'siyat Dishmaya. I brought the Chidush for you guys here, and how you guys asking the question. It's a Rashi talks about it on Sefer Melachim 1 in on the comment on the pasuk on chapter 10 pasuk 13, and also commentary from the Arizal. A commentary from the Arizal. Also further, there is a Sefer Adorot. Sefer Adorot discusses it as well. And there's a few, also the Chida. The Chida also talks about it. So a few places talk about this. So now, back to why does Hashem love Reshaim? Nebuchadnezzar was a Jew, was Rasha. So since the Chida is the one that gave us the Chidush on Nebuchadnezzar being a Jew, the Chida is also going to give us the Chidush. And why does Hashem love Reshaim? Why does Hashem love Reshaim? The Chida says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves Reshaim because every day he looks at the Rasha and he says, in 1 second you could become a Baal Tshuva. In 1 second you can become a Baal Tshuva by simply deciding to stop sinning. And if you become a Baal Tshuva, on you it is written that even the tzaddikim cannot get to your level. Meaning Hashem doesn't love the Rasha's actions, but rather he loves their potential. In 1 second you, the Rasha, can be a tzaddik. By doing tshuva, you can get to a level higher than a tzaddik. By doing tshuva. That's what I love. I love your potential. But if a person dies like this, like the Chacham over here says, that person gets he gets kafakela, and then once he finalizes with kafakela, he goes to Gehenom. Misken, the guy, is going to regret the day he was born. So, we see here, Rabotai, that it's not so simple to just do tshuva, it's not so simple to just do whatever you want, but at the same token, Hashem doesn't give up on anybody. But we have to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. Now, lastly, and then you guys can ask some more questions if you'd like. In the Rambam writes in Chot Shuvah that on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah, the tzaddikim get signed for life, the Reshaim get signed for death, but the Benoni, the middle, Safek. In the middle. He's in the middle, his judgment's in the middle. To be determined. He has 10 days of tshuva, and then Yom Kippur. He needs Yom Kippur. And the Rambam writes that unless he does tshuva during the 10 days of tshuva, this Benoni, this middle ground, it's not going to be Benoni, it's going to be Rasha, the Kiri the Rasha. So the commentary on the Rambam says, wait a minute. If he's a Rasha and he gets decreed to death, okay, we get it. If he's a tzaddik, he gets decreed to life, okay, we get it. But the Benoni, the guy that's in the middle, why is he getting like such a decree that he has to do tshuva to fix it? Why isn't it that he just has to do one more mitzvah? If he's 50-50, 50% sins, 50% mitzvot, it should be that if he does one more mitzvah, he's good. He's tzaddik now. Right? How come the Rambam says, no, not a mitzvah. He has to do tshuva. This Benoni. Alvai, we are Benonim. Why does he have to do tshuva and not just another mitzvah? Bechavod, give me an answer.
Oh, no, I have a question.
No, I need an answer first.
Then, he's got to do tshuva before he goes to Olam Haba.
No, but he says, for now. Right now we had Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, tzaddikim, they're good. Rashaim, bad. Benoni, the middle ground, 50-50. No judgment yet. He needs to do tshuva by the time he gets to Yom Kippur, in order for Hashem to put him on the favorable side, on the tzaddikim side. So the Chachamim ask, how come he has to do tshuva and not just one mitzvah? Like, for example, go pick up an apple, say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz, you made one more mitzvah, finish, you're tzaddik.
It doesn't work like that.
Why not? He's 50-50.
But the weighing of mitzvahs and the weighing of theirs still exist. So they don't just disappear.
Okay, we're not saying they're going to disappear. He's 50-50.
You can do another Avera, though.
Let's say he's not. 50-50. You guys are in the right direction. 50-50 though.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that he's 50-50.
Okay.
He doesn't know yet, so he has to do teshuvah. In order to
So we'll combine all of your answers.
His trial is pending and he has the chance to appeal.
We'll combine all your answers. And this is the scariest part. Chavod, no, give me another answer.
The same way he can make it 51% mitzvahs, he can also do 49 mitzvahs by doing like a sin after.
Okay, so here's the commentary. Chachamim say the following. If a guy is Benoni, he's middle ground. He's got 50 mitzvot, 50 averot, 50 sins. Logically, if he does one more mitzvah, he has one more mitzvah than sin. He should be counted on the righteous side. But the Rambam says no. If it's the 10 days of tshuva, which is where we are today, he has to do tshuva, not another mitzvah. Chachamim say why? Because if he has not done tshuva already, after Rosh Hashanah has passed, and he still hasn't done tshuva, he arrived at the 10 days of tshuva without doing tshuva yet, that means that the decree in Shamayim is much heavier on him. And doing a single mitzvah is no longer enough. He has to do complete tshuva. He has to completely rewire his brain, his ideology, and realize he has to do complete tshuva, not just one more mitzvah. Why? You arrived a couple of days before Judgment Day, and you don't even realize it yet. You don't realize that you're also on the line to be hung or to be rewarded as a king. 50-50 chance. You're thinking, oh, because I keep Shabbat, I'm okay. You're thinking, because I go to shiur, I'm okay. You're thinking, because I give a little bit of money for tzedakah, I'm okay. That is what makes you not okay. That's what makes you not okay. And that's why the Chachamim say, the Rambam, Pasak L'Halacha, this person must do tshuva, because if he hasn't changed by the time he arrived at the 10 days of tshuva, that means that the no mitzvah will be sufficient to help him other than the mitzvah of tshuva. So what happens to all of those reshaim, the people that don't do tshuva? You see them still alive. Last year they were reshaim, this year they're reshaim, 2 years ago they were reshaim, but they continue living though. So here, Rabotai, it's important to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu still punishes, but even in his punishment, he has mercy. So what's the mercy? Is that he gives people the death penalty in different ways. One of the most common ways that he gives people the death penalty is shortening their life. So a guy comes to the world, he's decreed to live 120 years. He's decreed to live 120 years. He's already 13 years old. He's considered a man. He continues. Yom Kippur comes. He hasn't done tshuva. He hasn't done tshuva. Hashem says, okay, now it's 115 instead of 120. He just lost 5 years. He got the death penalty. He doesn't realize he got the death penalty. But he got a death penalty. He just lost 5 years of his life. Next year doesn't do tshuva. Okay, now it's 114. Next year doesn't do tshuva. There's more sins. Oh, now it's 110. Next year. By the time he's 25, he thinks he's got the whole world in his hands. He doesn't realize he's only got 5 more years to live. Shem Yachem. He thinks he's got the whole world in his hand. He just got a business. He's got this. He's got that. He's got everything. He doesn't realize he's got 5 years left on his clock. Unless he does serious tshuva. And change everything, which is not so simple. In essence, he's getting death penalty every year. This is the reason why, if you look at the statistics, online you could see it, almost 18.5 million people die every year around the world. And it's not a fair balance where you say, oh, it's mostly people that are 100 years old die. It's not even close. Most people that die are much, much younger than even half their life. Much, much younger. They got death penalty. They died younger. They were supposed to live 120 years. But they didn't. Why? They lived 35 years, 40 years, 45 years, 50 years. Yeah, but he had all the money in the world. Yeah, the money's here. He's not. And that's, Rabotai, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu fulfills the verse, Meshalem el sonav el panav le'avido. At the end of Parashat Vayitchanan, it says Hashem pays his haters cash to their face. How? He gives them a lot of materialism in this world in order to destroy them. How so? He gives them the reward for whatever mitzvot they did here, but at the same time he's shortening their life. And even more so, he doesn't give them the thought process, the wisdom that they need to have to think, maybe I need to do tshuva. Maybe I need to do tshuva. Some people get the worst punishment of all in this world, which is they lose the inclination to do tshuva. Hashem removes their free choice. They don't have any thought process whatsoever of doing tshuva. That's what the Rambam writes in Chot Tshuva is the worst punishment in the world, where a person is not allowed to do tshuva. This is rare. It's not common at all. Anyone that's watching the shiur, I promise you, you're not part of those, because people that watch the shiur, Baruch Hashem, usually do tshuva at some point or another. But the person that doesn't, that got this punishment, doesn't even think about a shiur. Doesn't think about anything. So that's the case. Okay, Bechavod, who has some questions in the back? Yes. Hashem created everything, yes?
Why did he create illnesses that can cause people to die? And why couldn't they just live until...
Why did Hashem create illnesses that will help them die? So, the Midrash Me'am Loez talks about the different requests that the Avot HaKadoshim, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, ask from Hashem. And Yaakov Avinu asked Hashem for a favor. He said, Hashem, until now, everyone looked the same throughout their whole life. They got baby, they got to about 20 years old. At 20 years old, they matured. Meaning, whether a guy is 20 years old or 120 years old, he looks exactly the same. No gray hairs, no limping, no pain in the back, no teeth missing, nothing. He looks like he's 20 years old. And then one day, he sneezes and he dies. Middle of the street, he goes, hey, Manishma, Hapchu, dies, finish. That's how he dies. This is why, Rabotai, until this day became a custom that when somebody sneezes, you say God bless you in English, but in Hebrew you say la briut. La briut to your health. Why? Because in the old days, if you sneeze, that's it. It was the last sneeze. Well, it was death. It's like a heart attack. A sneeze used to be a heart attack because there was no illness. So Yaakov says to Hashem, this person doesn't know when he's going to die. So he doesn't have time to prepare his family, to prepare his estate, to give the inheritance to the right people. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of conflict. Hashem, give us something to prepare us. Hashem says, Bikasta kibalta. You asked for it, you got it. What I'm going to do? I'm going to give you warning signs. What's the warning signs? Illnesses, gray hairs. The Baalei Musar says every time you get a gray hair, it's a warning sign from Shamayim. Your time's getting closer, son. My daughter, your time's getting closer. Yeah, but it's one gray hair, I'm 21. Okay, time's getting closer. I didn't say today. It's closer, meaning every time you get gray hair, do tshuva. Why? They're calling you in Shemaim. Calling Shemaim. Somebody gets sick, why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, your time's getting closer. Don't think that for sure you live into 120, even though everybody wishes you to 120. It doesn't usually happen. Every day you got to do tshuva. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us sicknesses in this world as a way to warn us that our time is up. And this, Rabotai, is important to know as part of tshuva. The first step of tshuva, the first step, before learning Torah and science and proving that God is real scientifically, before learning the entire Chumash and knowing every one of the names of the Avot and it's their sons and their descendants and learning, before all of that, a person must ask himself one question. And that is, why am I in this world? That's the first step of tshuva. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring me to this world? What's the point? What did he decided that this world cannot continue without me in it. Why? Why do I need to be here? For what? What is my purpose? Once a person asks themselves that question legitimately and searches for the answers, he will discover two things. One, he'll discover the reward of a Jew for fulfilling what Hashem wrote in the Torah. Hashem says, do all of these mitzvot, you'll get rewarded both in this world and the next. This world is temporary, the next world is eternal. He'll discover the reward for doing his job. On the other hand, if he continues learning Torah, he'll see the risk for not doing it. The risk for not following what Hashem said in the Torah. Once he discovers the risk, only a fool will continue going against Hashem. What is it like? It's like somebody that got a job at a big company, and the company says, listen, we're going to pay you a lot of money, but you just got to make sure that you do your job right. Okay, no problem. Paycheck every Friday. Okay, no problem. Just come in, make sure you wear a suit and tie, whatever. Okay, no problem. A week passes by, 2 weeks pass by, 3 weeks pass by, 4 weeks pass by. The guy's still sitting in his cubicle doing nothing all day. 4 weeks pass by, 5 weeks pass by, 6 weeks pass by, 3 months pass by. Now he's getting his paycheck. Paycheck comes on time, never late. But after 3 months, he gets a pink slip. Tell him, we're sorry, we do not need your services. Or better yet, your lack of services anymore. He goes to the boss, wow, what did I do? What did I do? He says, exactly, you didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. He goes, yeah, but nobody told me what to do. So how could I do anything? If you're waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, obviously this is not the position for you. If you're going to wait for your boss to constantly give you instructions, you are a horrible employee. Horrible employee. If your boss has to worry about whether you're going to do your job or not based on him telling you repeatedly, do your job, show up on time, put a suit on, do this, do that. If he has to constantly give you instructions to do your job, guess what? It's better not to have you. Why? Just the time that he's wasting telling you to do your job, he can just hire somebody that knows how to figure things out by themselves. I remember having employees like this in my company. Nightmare to deal with. Every day you got to tell them what to do. And it's the same thing every day. Why do I have to keep telling you what to do? Oh, maybe something changed. If it changed, I'll tell you. But until then, do your job. And that's why the Chachamim say, as a side note, some people sin adultery. Some people sin adultery. Many sin gezel. And everyone sins Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara we know already. Shem Erachem. It's not a bite en bomet. Everybody says Lashon Hara at some point or another. Adultery, only the real Reshaim do it. But gezel, the Chachamim say many, meaning a lot of us. Why gezet? It says because people do not know the laws of working. How to work. Guy goes to work. He works for, I don't know, P&G or something. He works for UPS. But instead of doing his job, he's on the phone all day with his girlfriend. He's on the phone all day with his wife. He's on the phone all day with his bank account. Because a check bounced. He's trying to figure out, why did the check bounce? So he's sending messages to the bank. No, come on, he's on hold for 45 minutes on his boss's time. Habibi, you're a thief. In Shemaim, you're a thief. Or better yet, he's text messaging all of his friends because they all went on vacation to Cancun. He wants to know what they're doing over there. So a half hour, 40 minutes, he's on texting back and forth with his friends. Oh, you met? Oh, wow, you went? Oh, you went there? Oh, why you this? Oh, you did this? Oh, you did that? Guess what? You're a thief. Why? Your boss is not paying you to text message. Your boss is not paying you to do all those things. Now, if your boss says he doesn't care as long as you do your job, that's a different story. But, truth be told, most jobs you cannot do while you're talking and texting and doing all types of things to other people. So what happens? Person thinks they're tzaddik, they go up to Shammai and says, oh, here's the thief, 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 thief. What thief? I never stole a handkerchief. What are you talking about, thief? Because what are you talking about? You worked for this company 30 years? 30 years you're stealing from them. 30 years you're stealing from them. Wow, you're on your phone the whole time. Or better yet, people do business in different trades, diamonds and things of that nature. They give money to somebody and they say, listen, I'll give you the 10,000, but you have to pay me back. When you buy the goods, you have to pay me 10,000 too. Meaning $200 extra because I'm giving you extra time to pay me. Guess what? That's interest. If that person is a Jew, you just lost Olam Haba. And all types of laws that have to do with stealing, with ribit, and with interest and things of that nature, Chachamim say a lot of people violate this stuff. Or better yet, a person wants to be Chacham. Or she wants to be Chacham. Chachama, what? The boss didn't tell her what to do. Boss didn't tell him what to do. So he figures, you know what, I don't have anything what to do. You know what I want to do? Let me open a Gemara. Until he tells me what to do, I'm going to read Gemara. Why? He's getting part of my mitzvot. He's getting part of my mitzvot. Why? I'm learning, he's paying me. He's getting part of my mitzvot. I'm learning Gemara. I'm going to finish Masechet Yoma over here. I'll finish. I only have one daf left. It's only going to take me 2 hours. I'll learn Gemara. No, what? What's the big deal? Oh, she decides she's going to read Tehillim. I'm going to read Tehillim for my boss. I'm going to read Tehillim for my boss. I'm going to do mitzvah. Read Tehillim for my boss. He starts reading Tehillim. He's not paying her to read Tehillim. He's paying her to, I don't know, build a building. He's paying her to do other things. No, she's going to read Tehillim. Who's asking you to read Tehillim right now? Yeah, but it's a mitzvah. Not now. Before or after work. Or if you have permission during work. But not just because you decided. So a lot of people do this. A lot of people do this without even thinking twice. So it's important to know these things. Yes?
I have actually a couple questions.
Chavod, as many as you want.
First question is, so you said that when a Benoni is 50-50,
50-50.
what happens if the Benoni does nothing? He stays 50-50. What happens to Shemayim when is he Rasha or considered a tzaddik or is he considered a Benoni?
So,
And how does he get judged? How does a Benoni get judged?
well, the Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah says that every single person gets judged every year while he's in this world and the next. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens the book of the living and the dead every year. So the living, thank you, excuse me, the living we understand because the living good question. The living we understand they keep doing more mitzvot, more sins every day. So is a impossible for a person to stay the same. Even if they sleep too much, it's a sin. It's bitul Torah. So you cannot do nothing. You cannot stay status quo. Every second you're alive, something has to happen. That's why Kadosh Baruch Hu, He wanted to give us all types of opportunities to get to Olam Haba. It says that Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to reward the nation, therefore He gave them a lot of mitzvot. Chachamim say, how is giving us a lot of mitzvot going to help us go to Olam Haba? It says because if you perfect one mitzvah, perfect it, it becomes your baby. you get Olam Haba. That's why every Jew should pick one mitzvah, become perfect at it. Why? It's going to give you a share of the world to come. Obviously, assuming you're keeping the others also. Not you're Mechalel Shabbat, but you're the best guy in the world for giving tzedakah. Doesn't give you an opportunity to sin, but if you perfect the mitzvah, it gives you a share of Olam Haba. So the point is that a person does mitzvot. Every second he's alive. In Shamayim he gets there. Even if he himself, let's say hypothetically speaking, got to 50-50. Like you said, hypothetically 50-50. His actions, what he left in the world, continues to go even after his death. So let's say, for example, he wrote a book. He wrote a book. People are going to read that book. Now, it's not such a popular book. She only sells one copy a year. So in Shamayim, they wait. He's on 50-50. He's not going here, he's not going there. We're waiting for somebody to buy the book. Somebody buys the book, and they read the book. And it says in the book, oh, came from a monkey, not from God. Okay, now you're not 50-50 anymore. Now you go to Gehenom. Why? Somebody bought your book. Somebody bought your book. That's a sin. They made a sin. Now they think they're coming from monkeys instead of from Hashem. Or you wrote that Adam and Eve is a parable. Like our dear friend Jonathan Sachs, the former head rabbi of London, said that Adam and Eve is a parable. Or his friend Mirvis the Rasha says that homosexuality shouldn't is not such a bad thing. He wrote a whole book about it. All these Reshaim, they're going to be judged not just in this world. They're going to be judged after. Why? Because people are going to read their books. Shmuley Boteach has no chance in the world. No chance in the world to leave this world empty-handed. Why? He's going to take all the sinners with him. Every one of his books is no less bad than the New Testament. Every one of his books is full of kfirah. Kosher Jesus he wrote, a book with a pornography star, Shem Yerachem, all types of filth he wrote. He calls himself a rabbi, Shmuley Boteach. So this guy is judged every year. HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens the book of the living and the dead. Meaning whatever you left in this world will be reviewed. What kind of results did it generate this year? You left kids in the world, like Shmuley Boteach. His daughter just opened a sex store in Tel Aviv. She called it Kosher Sex. So every year, Shmuley Boteach will have to be judged for his daughter's store. How much sales she made. Every year, she does the accounting, how much money she made in this kosher sex store. And Shmuley Boteach is getting burnt further and further in Gehenom. Why? Because what did she say to the TV interviewers? She said, they asked her, aren't you going to be concerned of what the rabbis are going to say? You're the daughter of a rabbi? You're opening, a Jewish woman is opening a kosher sex store? She says, no, I got the permission from the rabbi. And they asked her, which rabbi? She goes, my father. I got permission from my father to open it. He already started telling me about this when he wrote the book. When he wrote the book 20 years ago about sex, he already told me this is what I got to do in my life. A Jewish girl, a Bat Yisrael, opening a sex store, Shem Yerachem. And she's proud of it, and he's proud of it. Every year he's going to be judged deeper and deeper in Gehenom. For what? For his daughter. So that's the thing. No such thing as 50-50. Everybody leaves some type of trail. Some type of cookie crumbs that they have that will lead them one place or another. And I'll give you a joke. One guy didn't do so good in the world. Got up to Shamayim, said, okay, you didn't keep nothing. Gehenom. He's burning. After a little while, doors open. They never open in Gehenom. They only open one way. First time one door opens, it's exit. Who gets out? Hey, Steve, come. Poor Steve, he's like coal, full of fire, blood everywhere, misken, a guy's being burned everywhere. He's so excited to get out of the lava. Oh, I'm out, I'm finished? Yeah, you're done, come. Where am I going? Where are you taking me? Oh, I'm taking you to heaven. Me, going to heaven? Wow, Baruch Hashem, I knew Hashem had mercy. No, he goes, no, it's not Hashem, it's your son. Your son did it. My son? I know he's not going to let me down. What did he do? He says, your son just gave $1 million check to Be'ezrat Hashem organization to do kiruv. Shtabach Shimo, this guy becomes a chassid. In Shamayim, he starts dancing. Oh, ay. Oh. He's dancing in Shamayim. He's there, he's going to go with the ashes, his hands are falling off, everything. But he's excited to go to heaven. He goes to heaven. He sees all the tzaddikim over there. He heals. He's excited. Oh, Torah, I'm not really interested in Torah, but it's better than being burned. He starts sitting. He sees Rabbi Akiva is over there, and Moshe Rabbeinu is over there. Wow, it's much better than this Gehinom over there. So he sits over there. Doesn't know me much to do, but he's hanging out. It's better than being burned. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. All of a sudden, Gan Eden opens. The same Malach Duma comes. What? He's looking. You, Steve, come. Me? What did I do? I didn't say nothing. It wasn't me. Let's go, Steve. My son is a big tzaddik. He just donated $1 million to Bezrat Hashem. This Rabbi Yaron, he's helping people. He goes, yeah, he donated. No, come on, you go back to Gehinom. He goes, why? He said, the check bounced. So you leave trails. Sometimes we start something good, but we don't finish it. We start something good, we don't finish it. Hashem wants to put us in Gan Eden. We mess up. Chavo, next question.
So, in terms of interest,
Ken.
so somebody, if I borrow, in 1920, $10 is now, let's say, $100. So if I borrowed $10 from a Jew in 1920, let's say I'm 100 years old, and now I have to pay them back, inflation is different. So do I have to necessarily pay them back $100 or $10?
So as far as the agreement in loans, first and foremost, a Jew is not allowed to lend another Jew money and charge him interest. So there's no leniency there, with the exception of if this Jew that you're lending money and charging interest to is a Mechalel Shabbat. If he's a Mechalel Shabbat, you're allowed to charge him interest, and the reason why is because according to Halacha, according to the Torah in 12 places, Shulchan Aruch in 7 places, and pretty much everywhere across the Torah, a Jew that violates Shabbat is considered 100% an idol worshiper. So you treat him the same way as you treat as an idol worshiper. You're allowed to charge him interest. But the Chachamim say you still shouldn't charge him interest, because in case he does tshuva, if he does tshuva, you have a problem.
In terms of inflation, though, I'm saying.
Forget inflation. There's no such thing as inflation. You give you $100, you give him back $100. So what happens if a person, let's say, for example, borrowed $100, a friend asked you for $2 and said, I'm going to give you back tomorrow. $200, $2, it's the same thing. Give me $2, give me $200, give me $2,000, I'll give it back to you tomorrow. And he doesn't do it. He doesn't give it back to you. That person is sinning. Why? Because that person made a swear that he's going to give back the money. It's a problem. Defaulting on a loan. It's people that don't keep their word. It says in the Mishnah that just like a Kadosh Baruch Hu destroyed the generation of the Palaga, the Tower of Babel, he'll destroy the people that don't keep their word. Why? Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu keeps his word. You have to be like him. So you cannot tell people that you are going to pay them back and don't pay them back. In fact, when it comes to business, you have to be so careful that you're not even allowed to borrow money unless you know that you can pay it back. Meaning, if you say, listen, I need to buy a house. I need to borrow $100,000 from my friend. How are you going to pay it back? Well, Bezrat Hashem. Not allowed to borrow that money, Bezrat Hashem. Not allowed to take a risk with his money. You're called a Rasha. If you borrow money without knowing how you're going to pay it back, you're called a Rasha in the Torah. For every single second you don't pay him back, you're called a Rasha. Why? Because you took risk with his life. His life being his money. Money is considered damim. It's considered life. So you took risk with his money. If you know, okay, I have collateral. If I don't pay him back, I could give him my car. I could give him my house. I have this job that makes me the money. I have a way to pay him back. Not, it's like, Bezrat Hashem, I'm going to pay him back. No. But if you have a way to pay him back, you're allowed to borrow the money. So you're not even allowed to borrow money from people if you don't know if you can pay them back. This means that most people that borrow money are not allowed to borrow money. Because most people that borrow money borrow on, like, when there's dire straits. They have no other choice. So what do you do if you have no other choice? You don't have a way to pay him back. You need $10,000 because you need to do such and such. You're in a jam. You just lost all your money in the stock market. You put everything into bitcoins or something, and you lost everything. And now you need to pay rent. You need to pay mortgage. You have kids. You have stuff. You need $10,000 to close the month. You haven't paid rent or mortgage in 3 months. You need $10,000. I'm going to kick you on the streets. What do? You say, okay, can you pay me back? I don't have a job. But Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll get a job. That's not an excuse. You're not allowed to borrow money. So what do? Ask for tzedakah. Tell him, I want tzedakah. I need tzedakah. Yeah, but it's busha, it's embarrassing. Okay, good. Good. It's better to be embarrassed here than to be a rasha. 1 second, over there. And also being embarrassed is a form of tshuva. So, borrowing money has to have an agreement. You lend somebody $1,000, let's say. You have to have a shtar iska. You have to have an agreement. I'm borrowing this money for an X amount of time, let's say for a year. In a year from now, you're going to give me back $1,000 back. You borrowed $1,000, you're going to give me back $1,000 a year from now. During that year, there's no inflation worries whatsoever. But even so, you pay him back what you borrowed. You don't pay him back what happened to it in 80 years.
Can you make an agreement that inflation counts, or is that
It's a form of interest. It's a form of interest, yes. So you have to have a special shtar iska, you have to have a serious Talmid Chacham to see if you could structure the loan as a partial investment and partial loan. Where, in essence, if the person takes the money, let's say, for example, it's more than $1,000. Let's say it's $100,000. And you know that if you give him the $100,000, you don't have access to the $100,000 anymore. So that means you're losing opportunity. You can use the $100,000 to invest the money and do a bunch of other things with it. But now you don't have it anymore, so he has it. So you're losing opportunity. You want to get paid for that opportunity. But the same token, you're not allowed to charge interest. So what do? You do a shtar iska, where you structure that part of the money is a loan, where let's say $50,000 out of the $100,000 is 100% loan. Meaning he has to return you no matter what, he has to return the $50,000 back. No matter what. Doesn't matter if he goes broke, if his idea works, doesn't work, he has to return the $50,000 out of the $100,000 no matter what. And an X amount of time. If he doesn't have that X amount of time, he gets more time. But the point is, he has to return the money. He owes you the money permanently. Even if he dies, his family has to pay the loan. Now, on the other hand, the other $50,000 that's an investment, that's risk. Meaning, if that he takes the $100,000, he invests the $100,000, whatever he wants. Let's say, I don't know, he buys a business. And that business makes an extra amount of money. So that $50,000 that's a loan, that's a loan. But that $50,000 that's an investment, that investment is permitted to get a piece of the profits of that business. You get a piece of the potential reward that's going to happen. But at the same token, if his investment goes bust, he doesn't have to pay you back. Meaning that entire $50,000 is up to risk. It goes to zero, it goes to zero. He doesn't have to pay you that money back. So that way you could structure it where you don't take 100% risk, but at the same token, you're not losing any potential reward. You could potentially make money. And that's how people structure loans when it comes to large sums of money, if they have opportunity and things of that nature. But generally speaking, it's when it comes to interest, when it comes to inflation, when it comes to even giving a person a gift, you're not allowed. Like, for example, if, let's say, for example, somebody, you borrowed something from them. You borrowed, I don't know, iPad. You borrowed an iPad, but it was a used iPad. 2 or 3 year old iPad. That was, let's say, worth $200. Okay? While you had it, it broke. You feel bad. Tell your friend, listen, the iPad broke, but I got you this new one. Best one on the street, it's $1,500, it's on me. Not allowed. Why? That's interest. You can give it to him as a gift, but it's not the returning of the money. Only $200 out of the $1,500. But if you give him that whole thing, just like that, oh, this is payback, it's everything. Not allowed. Why? That's giving him interest. You're not allowed to give him more than he gave you. Because the sin of interest is both on the borrower and also on the lender. It's on everybody. It's not just one party. Everybody is in trouble. Yes.
So even if you didn't mean to, if you would have known interest, if you would have known this is Asher, you wouldn't have done it. So such people get prepared too.
Yes, it's definitely an avera. That's why we have the Bet HaMikdash. The Bet HaMikdash, all of the korbanot that we had, the korban chatat, were for accidental sins. So if somebody turned on the light or turned on fire on Shabbat, accidentally, not on purpose, as soon as Motzei Shabbat comes out, he realizes, oh, I made a mistake. He has to go take a korban, go close his business, travel with this korban all the way to the Bet HaMikdash, sacrifice this. He has to do himself. Can't send somebody. He has to go bring the korban all the way to Bet HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. He loses a week worth of work to go this korban. Why? For an accidental sin, not for a purposeful sin. If it's on purpose, it's death penalty. So all of the korbanot were for accidental sins, which means that we still need to do tshuva for them. So if a person accidentally charged interest, accidentally stole money, accidentally violated Shabbat, it doesn't absolve him from the sin. It just means it's an accidental sin. So it has a lesser punishment, but it's still a punishment nonetheless, unless he does tshuva. If he does tshuva, that sin is wiped out as if it never existed. As if it never existed, and he can even turn it into a mitzvah. Yes?
How could anyone realistically do tshuva on every single transaction they've ever done in their life? They've never been careful. I think, as far as ribis goes, people know the classic example of ribis, meaning I'll give you 100 if you give me 150, let's say. But for just items, like for just
Right.
so many things, how can someone realistically?
So that's why a person needs to learn serious Torah. If a person wants to become a chacham, he has to learn all of the masechtot of Baba Metzia, Baba Kama, Baba Batra. He has to become an expert in the laws of business. That's also a way to become a chacham. But further yet, he should always consult with a talmid chacham before he conducts business, before he does everything, before he buys stuff, before he makes any major transactions. He has to consult with a talmid chacham that knows what he's doing and has yirat shamayim. People think that it's too much to ask before you do everything, but the reality is it's the only way you can get yourself out of problems. We ask our rabbi literally everything. Everything we ask. Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has mercy on us, but also it's part of the reason is because we use this knowledge to benefit the public. Whatever I learned from my rabbi, I teach you guys. And I teach the people online, and I help other people. So we use it's worth it for Hashem to give me a chacham that's going to have pretty much be an encyclopedia of Kedusha that has all the answers. That's why Rav Gidon ben Moshe, one of the head rabbis in Yerushalayim, said in the Siyum HaShas of Rav Ephraim last week. They had a Siyum HaShas party in Yerushalayim last week. Rav Ephraim finished the Shas Baruch Hashem another time. And Rav Gidon ben Moshe says, different places have computers, they have this. We have Rav Ephraim in our kollel. The Rosh Kollel says, different places, they have computers, they have this, they have that. We have Rav Ephraim. Anyone wants to know something, they go to Rav Ephraim, you ask him, where's this? Rav Ephraim says, over here, over here, over here, over here, over here. Shtabach Shemo Lahad. So it's worth it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give me such a chacham that knows all these things. I ask a question, he gives me an answer. It's worth it. Why? Because I benefit you guys and everybody else. If a person uses the Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him to benefit the public, it's worth it for Hashem to gift him more. But if he's selfish with his Torah, then Hashem is going to give him less. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses the Torah to fulfill the will of Hashem, it's worth it for Hashem to give him more and more chidushim. If he's selfish, he's going to give him less. So what happens if a person wants to be righteous, but he doesn't know everything? Or even if he thinks he does. He has a Talmid Chacham, he asks a rabbi, Rabbi, allowed, not allowed? I'm about to do this deal. I'm about to buy this house. And the deal with the house is that I'm not going to buy it right away. I'm going to rent it for a year. I'll rent it for a year. After a year, I have the option to buy. But the deal is that I could buy it for $500,000. Unless there's certain terms. The market goes up, the market goes down, this happened. So you have to have the rabbi review this agreement, pay money for his time, because he doesn't live on man. Pay money for his time. Rabbi, can I do this? Can I do that? You send to the Bet Din. There's a Bet Din in Lakewood, full of chachamim. They're raising, I think, like $1 million right now for their Bet Din. And this is, you see the pamphlet, the website of this Bet Din. They have probably, I don't know, Baruch Hashem, many, dozens of rabbis, the whole chachamim, And they review these cases every day. You ask them, am I allowed to do this deal? Not allowed to do this deal. They review contracts all day. You send it to a Talmid Chacham, or if you have a rabbi, so on and so forth. Now, that's part one of the answer. Part two is, realistically, as I said in a recent movie that came out, short film that we came out, realistically, none of us could do tshuva for all of our sins without doing kiruv. And the reason why is because it's not just about the sins that you know about that you have to worry. It's the sins that you don't know about that you have to worry. Many times we make sins and we don't know that they're even sins. Like the example you just gave me. You gave somebody something and you didn't even realize that you gave it to him and it's really a form of interest or it's a form of problem. So what do? You have to help Am Yisrael do tshuva. And the reason why is because when you have another Jew do tshuva, or you have a non-Jew convert and become a tzaddik, that goes to your merit. Every time they do a mitzvah, that goes to your merit. They are in essence helping you rectify your past mistakes. Whether you know of those mistakes or you don't know of those mistakes is irrelevant. They're still actively rectifying your mistakes. And this is why Rabbi Kadosh that wrote the Mishnah, from him we have the entire oral Torah, when he found out that his cousin, Rabbi Chia, how he's treated in heaven, and how Rabbi Chia is the only one that can go from world to world whenever he feels like it, unlike all the other tzaddikim that need a malach to take him. Can't just walk around wherever you want in Olam Haba. You have to have a malach take you from world to world, unless you're Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia, you go wherever you want. So Rabbi asked Shamayim, Yeruach HaKodesh, asked Shamayim, how come Rabbi Chia was my Talmid? How come Rabbi Chia gets such a kavod up there? So, Rabbi Chia get kiruv. Rabbi Chia helped Am Yisrael do tshuva. You do help people do tshuva, you get whatever you want. You go higher than anybody else. At that moment, Rabbi Kadosh started crying and running in the middle of the street looking to help people do tshuva. Looking for chilonim, looking for secular people. And on that he said, it's worth it for a person to chase one person to do tshuva for 70 years. One person, you helped them do tshuva. All 70 years of your life, it was worth it to come to this world. Why? Because of how you're going to be treated in Shamayim. So from here we learn, Rabotai, kiruv is not a suggestion. It's an obligation, number one, to save ourselves from our own past mistakes that we know of and don't know of, and furthermore, to give ourselves a good treat by giving us a nice Olam Haba where they treat us like Rabbi Chia. Yes, Chabud. So, if your friend tells you, give me $2 and I'll give you back $3 tomorrow, you have to say, no, tomorrow you give me $2. Because if I take $3 from you, that's interest. And that interest, that means that I would lose Olam Haba. A Jew is not allowed to charge another Jew interest. So you're not allowed. So even if he offers, you're not allowed to accept it. Unless, like I said before, it's an investment of some kind, and therefore you're not really lending him the money. It's actually you're investing in his business, or perhaps he just decides to give you a gift on his own. He gives you $2 and he says, by the way, here's $1, go buy yourself a nice, Twizzler or something. Make some noise in the lecture. Here's $1 to buy Twizzlers. So he decides to give you a gift on his own, that's not a problem. But you have to make sure that it's clear that this is a gift completely disconnected from the loan. Generally speaking, you should try to stay away from that so there's no confusion in case somebody else is watching and doesn't understand why. Ideally, it's better not to take gifts from anybody. But definitely never charge interest and never pay interest. If you have to borrow money, for example, to buy a house, don't borrow money from a Jew if he's going to charge you interest. Borrow from a bank that's controlled by non-Jews, which are pretty much all of the major banks are controlled by shareholders. The majority of shareholders are non-Jews. You're allowed to borrow money from them because non-Jews are allowed to charge you interest and you are allowed to charge interest to non-Jews. But if it's a private bank that's owned by one Jew, you're not allowed to do business with it as far as borrowing money from them. Yes?
We're also talking about like the
Yes.
What if you're born with gray hair?
Yes.
Or what if like he's like has like a strand of gray hair?
No, some people have different birthmarks for different reasons. Gray hair is just one of the signs that could be, not definitely is, but could be a sign from heaven that they're calling you in Shammai, meaning that they're trying to wake you up to do tshuva. But if a person, let's say for example, is a albino, he's albino. There's no color pigmentation in all of his body, his eyes, his eyelashes, everything is white. That's not a sign that he's 3 years old. He's not. So that's not necessarily a sign. It could be a sign, but it's not necessarily. But birthmarks come from different reasons. For example, if somebody's born with a birthmark on their side, on their head, different body parts, that is usually connected to their previous carnation. There's a very famous story that was publicized of a little boy, and you could see the movie of this. It's on the internet. A little boy, when he started speaking, he kept waking up in the middle of the night from a nightmare, the same recurring nightmare that he's being murdered. And his parents would tell him, ask him what happened. He keep telling him the same story. Oh, he's killing me again. He's killing me again. He goes, who's killing you? How do you even know about killing you? 3 years old. This is before every house has a television like today. And games that kill people for fun, even if you're 3 years old. Oh, this is like maybe 30 years ago, before the parents ruined the generation. So now, the little boy is scared. Every night he's waking up. It's called night terrors. So they took him to a psychiatrist. And B'siyata Dishmaya, Mamash, for heaven wanted this to be known. This specific psychiatrist was an expert in the field of trying to follow people that have memories of their previous life. In the movie that Rav Mizrahi Sheikhye did called Life After Death, there's many of these types of stories in that movie. You go to his website, divininformation.com, and you go Life After Death. There's a 2.5, 3 hour movie there. Very, very interesting. Anyway, so now this boy went to this doctor, and the doctor says, okay, tell me about your dream. And he starts telling him about the dream. And he says, do you remember who did it? He goes, yeah. He goes, what's his name? He tells him the name. He goes, do you remember where it was? He goes, yeah. It was in this country. And the parents are confused. Like, how does he know this country exists? It's in India. We are in Europe. The kid has never been to India. How does he even know the name of this country? How does he know the name of the city? So the doctor says, let's follow him. Let's follow the story. Let's track the story. Can you take us to where it is? The boy says, yeah. Take me to this specific city. They all get on a plane. They go to that city in India. He tells them, take me to this city here. Take him to the city. Okay, take me to the woods in that particular city. They go to the woods. Let's go inside the woods. The parents are following this little boy, 4 years old at this time, into the woods. They're walking. The kid stops. Everybody stops. No. You tired? No. He goes, I'm here. He goes, what do you mean here? He goes, I'm here on the ground. They start digging. They find the body. Right next to the body is the murder weapon, the axe. And in the middle of the skull of this body is a mark that the axe made an indent. Hit his head. The boy had a birthmark right over here. Right where the axe hit his previous carnation. They tell the cops. One of the cops was clever. Says, young man, What's this guy's last name? Who is this guy? Because until now they only know one name. What's this guy's name? They look at the database, this guy's still alive. They go to the guy admits it. He goes, yeah, I did it. This is a goy, he's not a Jew. And there's many stories like this. So people that have birthmarks, it's a connection to their previous carnation. Now please, I'm warning you, don't start sending me pictures on WhatsApp of your birthmarks. I'm not a psychiatrist or an Navi, nor am I interested in your birthmarks. But Hashem gave it to you for a reason. It's not for no reason. Everything is done for a reason. Next question. Last time I said something about dreams. Since then I'm being tortured with at least 5 dreams a day. Everybody made me a dream whisperer. Every day I get somebody's dream. Oh, I dreamt that my dog was limping. Does it mean something bad? Do you have a dog? No, but I had one in a dream. Okay, so I don't know, maybe it means that one day you'll have a dog and the dog's gonna have 3 legs. And what do you want for my life? Go ask the dog. Go ask the dog in a dream. Everybody thinks that their dream is like Nebuchadnezzar. It's the prophecy. 99% of your dreams are nonsense. But generally speaking, there's always a reason for everything. You have a question. Shana Tova. Yes. I'm warning you about the dreams already, so you're not even sure if you want to ask the question.
No, I'm trying to word it properly so that it comes out right. Are there dreams that can be that Hashem is actually communicating to you, warning you of your current end, where your end will be?
Yes, Hashem can give a person warnings of certain things that could happen. To warn the person to do something about it. It's not common, but it does happen. I'll give you a story. I haven't told you a story in a long time. Arav Yagen, alav shalom, used to have the best stories. And all these stories were first-hand stories, meaning he saw the stories, he experienced the stories. So there was in Israel, it's a small country, so everything that happens, everybody knows. Even if it happens in a different city, everybody knows, you know somebody that's related to this person. So, years ago, young girl, late teenager, 18, 19 years old, was hit by a bus and died. But before she was hit by a bus, people saw her act strange. And one of those people was an avrech that was going to the kollel of Rav Yagen. And he comes to Rav Yagen. He tells him, yeah, that story that happened in the news, the girl got hit by a bus, I saw the whole thing. This is what happened. He says, a few days ago, this girl came to me and told me that I knew her. She was like a neighbor or something. And she told me that she keeps having a dream. And her mom that died says to her in a dream, come meet me on this street at this time, on this day. And she kept having that dream, day after day. And she asked me, what does it mean? And I said, I don't really know what it means. Maybe you should go to a dream interpreter or something. Go to a rabbi. The poor guy, this avrech, was new. He was new Baal Tshuva. He didn't really know that something like this happens. You have to go to a real serious Talmid Chacham. People that are dead tell you to go somewhere. It's not such a simple thing. Especially if they keep coming back. So anyway, he says, I was interested. So she said, you know what, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go. So I went. I was following her. She didn't know I was following her. I was following her. I was on the bus. She was on the bus. And the whole time I see her, anxious to go see where her mom keeps telling her. Her mom died 5 years ago. But she's telling her, come see me on this day, on this block, on this day. And she's going. She's anxious. And I'm watching her the whole time. And then I see her get off the bus. I get off the bus. And I'm following her. And then I see her stop, look across the street. Traffic's still going. But she looks at across the street. It says, Ima! And she starts running. Boom! The bus comes. And hits her and she dies. True story. And stories like this have happened. This is just one of those eyewitnesses were there. And one of them happened to be a Talmid of Rabbi again. So, did the girl get a sign that she was going to die? Yes. She just didn't know how to read the sign. And she didn't go to the right place. Apparently she didn't have the merit. And apparently that was her time. Whatever the case may be. I don't know what Hashem decides and how He decides it. But the point being is that some people do get different warning signs. That their end is near unless they change something. This has happened many times throughout history. And it's documented many times throughout history with different people. And put it this way. If Hashem has to give a person that type of sign, then that means that Hashem has given them every other sign. And they're simply not paying attention. Like somebody came to me the other day and said that she's having a recurring dream that she's feeding her baby and the baby keeps dying. So I'm not a dream interpreter, nor am I really such a chacham, but I read a little bit, and certain things happen. So you don't need to be a dream interpreter to use a little bit of what Chazal says. So I asked questions. I said, give me an answer to this. Number one, does this woman keep talat mishpacha? 2, does she eat kosher? She eat kosher. The answer to both were no. She doesn't keep talat mishpacha, and she eats kosher only sometimes. When it's convenient. When the chocolate bar is kosher, she eats it. It's not kosher, she'll still eat it, but next time. When the bacon, egg, and cheese is from soy, it's kosher. If it's not, it's okay. So I said, oh, okay, so this is clear warning from Shamayim that if you don't change, Hashem's going to kill your kid. Simple. It's not a chidush for me. It says it in the Torah. It says in the Gemara, that's what happens. A woman doesn't keep talat mishpacha, Hashem kills her kids. Play off for my life. It has nothing to do with the dream even. The dream is just Hashem has mercy on you. And He's trying to tell you, well, listen, you didn't want to listen to the shiur, you didn't want to listen to this, you didn't want to listen to that, He's trying to give you a dream. You want to listen to a dream? It's not Hashem. You don't want to listen to a dream? Okay, so in X amount of time, you're going to call somebody and tell them, listen, Shem Yachem, bad news. Bad news. We'll finish off with this. There's a well-known Bukharian rabbi in Eretz Yisrael. He has some really emotional stories. And he says one time, in shiur, he sees this young kid, Kafkazi kid, in the shiur, comes to every shiur. Comes to every shiur, dedicated. One day, the kid says to the rabbi, Rabbi, I need to talk to you. Comes to him, yeah, what can I do? What happened? Everything okay? Listen, Rabbi, I love you. You changed my life. Doing tshuva, tefillin, everything. Oh, Baruch Hashem. I'm sorry, I can't come to the shiur no more. What? Usually, it's the opposite. Usually, change your life, this, that, come to the shiur. He goes, no, Rabbi, I'm sorry. My father, he hates it. He says, every time I'm doing tshuva, it's the worst thing in the world. I'm ruining everything. That's not the way we are. Our family, we're religious in our heart. Don't start telling people to keep Shabbat, this, that. No, you're not allowed to go to shiur. I forbid you from going to this rabbi's shiur. I had one time a Talmid, Russian guy, came to me, an atheist. after 3 shiurim, Shomer Shabbat, Shomer Mitzvot, started learning every day. Baruch Hashem, learned HaKadosh Baruch Hu was real. He told his mom in Eretz Yisrael, Ima, I did tshuva. His mom started crying. She goes, oh, I wish you started doing cocaine instead. I'm telling you, he told me this. I said, it's a joke, right? He goes, no, this is the word she used. He says, my mom told me I wish you became addicted to drugs instead of doing tshuva. Some people, they're so far from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that they think it's a bad thing. Shem Yachem. Imagine living your whole life thinking that Hashem is bad. That's already a punishment of its own. Now, this young kid tells the rabbi, Rabbi, I can't come to the shiur because my father says, no good. It's not our family. We don't become rabbis in the family. We are grandfather's a rabbi. That's it. We work. We do our thing. That's it. We're religious in our heart. So Rabbi can't come. He says, listen, you got to stay strong, this, that. Next time is shiur, a week later, the kid comes. But a surprise comes with him also. This hothead, Kafkazi old man, just looks at the rabbi like this, points to the rabbi, I want to talk to you. Rabbi comes to him and goes, yes. He goes, listen, you don't know who I am. You know, like one of those tough guys. You don't know who you're dealing with here. But I'm telling you, my son, your shiur, no more. Don't mess with me. He says, what do you want me to tell him not to come? He comes. Let him come. What do you want from his life? Let him learn Torah. He goes, listen to me. Talks to him like an avarian, like a gangster. He goes, listen to me. My son, your shiur, no more. Don't mess with me. He goes, I'm not going to tell your son not to come. You don't know who you're dealing with here. Warns him mamash. What's the rabbi going to do? He didn't say nothing. But unfortunately, the kid saw this. Next shiur, he didn't come. Another week passed, he didn't come. Another week passed, he didn't come. Another week passed, he didn't come. Kid, what are you going to do? Your father goes against it. This one goes against it. It happened to me over here 2 months ago. Young kid, Baruch Hashem, started doing tshuva. His father ruined the whole thing. Had a whole argument with his father. His father ruined the whole thing. The kid, the Shem Yachem, what he is right now. He's not even a kid. He's 25 years old. But still has the influence of under his father, Shem Yachem. Anyway, hopefully he's watching this part, because the finishing of this story gives you guys an idea of what's going on. So after a couple of months, the kid's not in a shiur, not in a shiur, not in a shiur, not in a shiur. One day, the rabbi gets a phone call, picks up the phone. Who is it? The gangster father. Kvod Harav, I beg you to please come to my home for the alvaya of my son. My son died. Shem Yirachem. Rabbi comes. He sees everybody's crying. Kid's young. He's 20, 25 years old. Young, little baby. He sees the father is hysterical, and he sees the rabbi, and he goes up to the rabbi. He goes, "Why didn't you yell at me? Why didn't you yell at me? Why didn't you hit me? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you force me? I killed my son. I killed my son. I killed my son," he says. Shem Yirachem. What happened? The kid stopped doing tshuva. He went back to his old life. What was his old life? Drugs, alcohol, parties, ecstasy, clubs, promotion, demotion, Hashem Yirachem. Okay, he went to that life. One day he did a little bit too much drugs, overdose, that's it, finished, died. The father says, I killed my son. What would I rather have, a dead son over here, or Hashem Yirachem, a kid that's a rabbi now? A kid that's about Shabbat, keep Shabbat, what's the big deal? The rabbi says, I felt so bad for the guy, but there's nothing anyone could ever do. For the rest of his life, for eternity, he's going to have to live with the fact that he murdered his son. Hashem Yirachem. And all of these parents that live today, that are sending their kids to public school in America, public school in Israel, public school in Europe, or send them to go do whatever they want, give them complete freedom to watch TV, surf the internet, act like a goy, be like a goy. When they hear Musar, they want to start doing tshuva, and the parents stop them. The parents discourage them. The parents tell them, you're a fanatic. Don't listen to this rabbi. Guess what? In Shemaim, you are a murderer. In this world, eventually you will be also. Why? Because you're murdering your kids. You're murdering your kids. What would you rather have? A kid that's a fanatic about Hashem, or fanatic about some Game Boy? Fanatic about guns, fanatic about girls, fanatic about sports, fanatic about money, fanatic about all the garbage of the world, instead of being fanatic about Hashem. What would you rather be? Alvay your kid becomes fanatic about Hashem. But you're not going to let him. Guess what? In Shemaim, they're going to make you see that. And you're going to suffer seriously for such a thing. Why? Because you're murdering your own kids. Some parents don't want to do tshuva. I got a kid, came to one shiur. One shiur, he's in his late 20s, 27, 28 years old. Came to one shiur, did tshuva. One shiur. You hear him in the background. This is the shiur I used to do in Boca Raton. One shiur he came, he asked a few questions. That was enough. Some souls are so special. All you got to do, tell them one time, they change their life. Now after that, since then, I think he's been at a total of maybe 5 shiurim. But today, he lives a life of a Jew. Goes to shul every day, learns Torah, does mitzvot, watched himself, got blessed. Got blessed. He watched his brit. One shiur. He started watching his brit. 28 years, he's whining and dining, never finds somebody who wants to get married. Watched his brit. 1 year later, he finds a Bat Israel. He's married now, Baruch Hashem. Married now, expecting kids. Shtabach Shemo. Are you going to find a Bat Israel in this Sodom and Gomorrah we live in? Sodom and Gomorrah, you live in, this guy found a Bat Israel. One shiur he went to. Now, why I tell you this story? There's many of those, Baruch Hashem. Why I tell you this story? His mom, empty. No religious whatsoever. Nothing. She walks around like she's Shem Yerachem, what she walks around like. But she has zchut. What zchut she has? When he started doing tshuva, she said, Chazak u'baruch. She didn't get in the way. She said, you want to do it? That's good for you. Go for it. Go for it. It's good for you. It makes you happy to be closer to Hashem. Go for it. No problem. She has merit. Why? Even though she didn't do tshuva herself, she has merit. Why? One of our sons, full Baal tshuva, Baruch Hashem. So we're not saying that because your kid's doing tshuva, you have to become a rabbi as a parent. But don't get in the way at least. You should be a rabbi as a parent. You should be a Baal tshuva too. That's one of the nevuot of the end of the days, that Hashem says the kids are going to make the parents do tshuva. But at the very least, don't get in the way of the kids that are trying to do tshuva. A lot of kids, Baruch Hashem, are doing tshuva from our shiurim. It's amazing. How the neshamot, they hear 1, 2 shiurim, that's it, finished. Their souls are still pure. They're not as filthy as some of ours, adults, from all the sins we made. So 1, 2 shiurim, that's enough. They already want to do tshuva. They're already scared. You don't have to teach them about Genom 5 times. One time you mention Genom, they're scared for the rest of their life. Unless they're addicted to wasting seed, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. But the point is, Rabotai, is that all of these stories, all of these things, they've happened. Hashem gives each one of us warnings in different ways. If each one of us delves into our own past, you'll see that Hashem is giving you many, many different warnings before He gave you a slap. He doesn't just slap for no reason. He gives you a warning shot, and sometimes another warning shot, and sometimes He gives you a punch. Why? Either because you're not getting the point, or perhaps you're a special soul that doesn't have the luxury of time. He wants you to do tshuva now. He wants you to do tshuva now, not when you're 47 and already half your life is under your, is behind you. He wants you to do tshuva now, already in your early 20s. Why? You apparently have, that's your cheshbon. Maybe there's something you're supposed to do. Whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be God here. All I can tell you is some people get their sign later in life. Some people get their sign early in their life. But everybody gets signs. Everybody gets a message. And every time you press snooze on that message and you ignore Hashem, you can rest assured that the next time he talks to you, the next time he gives you a message, it'll be much more painful. And it'll continue to become more painful. Until person, Hashem Erachem, runs out of time, lo aleinu lo alechem, or a person listens and starts doing tshuva. Alvai, that we use these 10 days of repentance and this Yom Kippur as a day to truly commit to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that once and for all we are going to do tshuva. Once and for all we're committed to changing. Not just for the things that are obvious, but the things that are not so obvious. Not just for the things that are simple, but also for the things that are difficult for us. Not for the things that we know about, but also for the things that we don't know about, but commit to learn about. Not just for the things that we like, that the Rabbi said, and it sounded funny, but either way, it's good, but also for the things that we don't like. And the Rabbi said, and we're going to do anyway. That's what got Eliezer, Eved Avraham, to the extent of going from being an Arur, a cursed Canaanite, to being a Baruch, going to Olam Haba, alive, with his clothes on. He never died. Eliezer, the servant of Avraham Avinu, is one of 10 people that went to Olam Haba alive. Alvai, all of us go there dead. To Olam Haba, Gan Eden, Alvai, it's good enough. He went there alive with his clothes on, with his suit on. How come? When Avraham came to Eliezer, Eliezer told him, I have a daughter for your son. Yitzchak needs to get married. I have a daughter, my daughter, she's a perfect girl, beautiful girl. She grew up in my own house, tzadika. Let her marry your son. Avraham says, your daughter can never marry my son Yitzchak. Why? You're a Canaanite, you're Arur. You're a cursed nation. I am Baruch. I'm Avraham Avinu. I'm the descendant of Shem. Descendant of Shem. I'm Baruch. Hashem blessed us. You, cursed, can never be together. Hashem says no. Now, who was Eliezer at this moment? Eliezer was first in command after Avraham Avinu. He fulfilled the entire Torah, Eliezer. Talmid Chacham. Whenever Avraham Avinu couldn't give shiur, Eliezer would teach Torah. So you would think, I tell somebody, listen, you're cursed, I'm blessed. All of a sudden says, I'm cursed, okay, I'm fine, I quit. I did tshuva already, you still calling me cursed? I quit. Eliezer, what did he say? When Avraham Avinu says, you're cursed and I'm blessed, what did Eliezer say? Chazak u'baruch, you're right. You're right. But he didn't just say the words. In his heart, he didn't get offended because he knew this is not Torah. He knew his rabbi said it, that's not Torah. Even though it sounds offensive. It sounds not good. It's not Torah, Kadosh. That's what the rabbi says. The rabbi says, in his heart, he didn't get offended. Hashem says, you didn't get offended by the truth, you will never die. You go to Olam Haba alive. You turn into Baruch. You were Arur, now you Baruch, Eliezer. You turn into Baruch. Why? Because you took the Emet and you didn't get offended. You didn't get offended by the Emet, you're now Baruch. You're now Baruch. Sometimes Musar, sometimes rebuke, sometimes the Emet is offensive to your Yetzer Hara. Your Yetzer Hara Tov is never offended by the Emet. If you let the Yetzer Hara Tov take control of the steering wheel, you're never going to be offended. But if you let the Yetzer Hara take control of the steering wheel, you'll be offended by everything. You're only going to like the mitzvot that are easy for you. Shabbat you keep, you're going to love that mitzvah. Taharat mishpacha you keep, you're going to love that mitzvah. But stealing at work, since you do it, no, this rabbi is machmir, he's crazy. No, come on, no, text message? What, 3 text messages is stealing? Come on, rabbi. No, what do you think, this generation of Moshe Rabbeinu? He thinks that's okay. No, everything that I do is okay. Everything I don't do is not okay. You understand? So a person needs to know. It's either emet or it's sheker. You have to double check, you have to double see. Doesn't mean that you can't breathe. Just means that you can do everything you're doing in a kosher way. When it comes to work, there's a time and a place to do things. You take breaks. You ask your boss, can I do this? Can I do that? You ask your rabbi, can I do this? Can I do that? Act like a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old that asks for permission. Because sometimes you won't know. Why just assume that you're right and gather yourself a lot of sins and then you don't even know what you're doing on Yom Kippur? You're doing tshuva for a sin that you know about. In reality, in Shemana is saying, "Oh, if you only knew the other stuff." So that's why, Rabbi, it's very, very important to be careful with dinei mamonot, the laws of money. Be very careful with the laws of arayot, all the issues of intimacy, sex crimes. You'll see that right before the end of Yom Kippur, the last prayer is full of that. That's all the tshuva that all of us do as Klal Yisrael. Mention every single possible sin that a person can make from intimacy issues. Wasting seed and nida and goya and so on and so forth. It's very, very important to know. This is a very serious crime in the eyes of Hashem, no matter what generation it is. Next week, Be'ezrat Hashem, we have a Yom Kippur on Tuesday. There's no shiurim next week. No shiur on Sunday. I was planning on doing it, but in Shamayim decided that I can't do it on Sunday. There is a small possibility that we may do a shiur on Thursday next week. I'll let you guys know. It'll be a special one-time exception, but maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see. Either way, there's going to be plenty of stuff online that we'll publicize. Maybe we'll do a shiur online only. We'll see, Be'ezrat Hashem. But these next couple of days, try to make sure that you are preparing yourself for Yom Kippur, not only by preparing the food and preparing the fast, but also know what you can do, know what you can't do. Anyone that is has a maaser, has money that they can donate, this is a perfect time to donate, especially for the sake of Kiruv, because you want to show up to Yom Kippur with as many zchuyot as possible. Don't show up to Yom Kippur with your savings account full of money, but very little tzedakah. Make sure that whatever you can give, you give. Aside from that, aside from prayer, aside from learning, aside from giving tzedakah, also if you could do chesed, if you have somebody in your community that is brand new to the to Judaism, to Torah, invite them over to your shul, invite them over to your Sudat Mafseket, that if you have the ability. If you have the ability to do it. If you don't have the ability to do it, you don't know anybody, you don't know anybody. You have the ability to do it, you should do it. Help people, especially people that are new. Don't just host people that are your friends and pretty much just want to show off your house and your cooking. Host people that are new to the community, new to the religion. Try to, bring them over and try to show them how beautiful Judaism is. Try to encourage them to come to the shiur. Try to do that as much as you can if you have the ability. If you don't have the ability, whether it's because of shlom bayit issues or money issues, then don't worry about it. Focus on the other things. Only focus on the things you can do. Don't harp on the things you can't do. Don't worry about the issues of a, let's say, pool boo, if you're not even married yet. First, find a shidduch. Then we'll worry about pool boo. Don't worry about siyum hashas, finishing the entire shas, if you haven't finished the chumash yet. First, finish the chumash. Then we'll worry about the shas. Worry about what the problems you have now. Don't worry about all of the sins you've ever made if you haven't even done tshuva for Shabbat yet. First, do tshuva for Shabbat. Then we'll start doing some other things. You understand? You can't complete the entire Torah in one shot. Can't complete the Torah in one shot. Somebody told me today, listen, I have this guy who doesn't keep anything, and I'm worried about all the bitul Torah that he's doing. What bitul Torah? The guy doesn't keep Shabbat. What bitul Torah? What are you talking about? Bitul Torah is that you're wasting time not learning Torah. This guy doesn't even keep Shabbat. What are you talking about bitul Torah? He doesn't even know why he's alive yet. He doesn't understand the difference between him and a cow. You're worrying about bitul Torah. You tell the guy the mitzvah bitul Torah, he's going to tell you go fly a kite. You have to understand there are certain things that you teach now, certain things you teach later. Can't teach the whole Torah on one leg. So, Bezrat Hashem, this Yom Kippur, we're going to commit to HaKadosh Baruch Hu once and for all to do tshuva, but also each one of us take on the obligation to help Am Yisrael do tshuva Bezrat Hashem now and not later. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen.